Okay, now we're live. Now we're live. Chat, forgive me. I'm what is known as a luddite. I'm not that good at technology, but we're here. So yeah, this is Let me get this out of the way. Let me get this is gonna be my first real official stream. The are we actually live? Let me go make sure. Let me go make sure we're live. Right? Okay, we got 45 people in here. That's good enough for now. What's good, everybody, on this Tuesday morning? I was gonna stream last night, but I was exhausted. I went on the treadmill. I ran like 5 miles, um, and I was lying in my bed. I'm like, I can't. I just couldn't do it. But we're here now. You thought my voice was AI modified. Here's the thing, right? Oh wait, sorry. I'm playing. I think I'm playing the audio from somewhere else. One second, you guys. I'm messing up. My where's this audio coming from? Okay, I got it. I got it now. I had the template in the background playing. So a few things I'm gonna say in this video might blow your guys' mind. Um, One of them that I posted on Twitter, and let me actually pull the chat up. Can I see the chat? Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and actually fix some of this stuff because I can't see the stream elements I put in this video. I don't know what's going on. I'll deal with that later. It's not really that important. But yeah, I saw the spoilers, and this chapter looks like it's definitely going to be crazy. I also decided I'm going to mix, because I was saving this for another stream, but I think I'm going to mix this in with this stream. Let me just try and find a way that I can pull up what I'm looking for, because where's the stream elements? Stream elements, stream elements. It should be on here. One second, chat. I'm going to, let's see. Let me try and turn this off for a second. Okay, screen's off. Hello, we're going to officially start within 10 minutes, right? So in 10 minutes, we're definitely going to start. I just need to figure out what happened to the stream element section. Okay. I don't know. I had that set up. So I'll be back in 5 minutes, right? Just give me 5 minutes. Let's see, stream elements. What did I do? Mm-hmm. audio output, audio inputs on, the screen is on. I don't know what any of this stuff is doing. Okay, it's on. This is good enough, whatever. I just want to make sure that the comments can be seen. Alright. Okay. Make sure the audio is still good. Okay, we'll start shortly. Let me just read some of you guys' comments. Okay, we're almost ready to start. Just gotta download something. We'll probably stream for like an hour or 2 hours. If I can last 2 hours, we'll see. Yeah, my computer's slow. Copy this. Go to the converter. Let's see, YouTube to MP3. I know that some of you guys said that you like listening to my videos when you go to sleep, and so that's why I scheduled it yesterday for about 11 p.m. I think. It's kind of like I was reading you a bedtime story, but maybe we'll do that again in the future. Okay, almost ready to go. Let's see, MP4. So I'm going to go back and read your comments, but let me start with Daniel Keys. Not sure if you are a fan of short horror stories, but plenty of YouTubers will narrate these and produce short videos, and a lot of them have similar tone ambience to your videos. That's a good idea. I've actually been told by people that I should consider doing like a horror series channel. The thing is, like, when I think about the other channels I plan on creating, which are currently in the works, I don't also know if I want to do what others have done. You know, I hear people all the time saying that they're really into fitness and they want to be a fitness YouTuber or fitness influencer, right? And the problem is, like, there's so many fitness videos, and when you think about it, when, like, you could watch fitness videos from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, there's really no need, even though people like fresh faces, to constantly have new content that's already been done if it's still relevant, if you get what I mean. And don't get me wrong, I mean, horror stories, you can always write new stories, and people love new authors and new books and new tales, but Corpse did horror narration submitted my... This is from what, Skylark's Peak? Corpse did horror narration submitted by... Oh, by viewers. People compare me to Corpse, but I think Corpse's voice is a little bit deeper than mine. I don't know where Corpse is from. But yeah, I agree with Fernando. It's kind of oversaturated. That's the thing, like, if you want to get into YouTube now, I agree with this. There's a YouTuber named DDG. He's kind of a rapper now, I think. And he said that it's a lot harder to get into YouTube today and be original than it was in the past. Like, I remember in the past, you could literally, I think when YouTube was, well, when One Piece YouTube was really getting started, you could put out trash and get millions of views, because the thing is, there was very little, I think, competition. And I think as viewers, you guys might agree with me that a lot of One Piece content is oversaturated. There's a lot of One Piece YouTubers out there right now. And so One Piece is kind of turning into that horror genre, I think. I've actually noticed other creators kind of diversifying their content or branching out into other areas because of that, yeah. I appreciate that, Peak. You think my voice is better? Yeah, I know a lot of my subscribers leave comments on the videos telling me that they want to get some of the background music. I might one day, you know, go ahead and try to do that for you guys and try to, you know, maybe just like put the songs in like a Google Drive. I don't know. And then you guys can access them. Or download them for yourselves. Even though I don't know their names, I didn't save their names. Yes, this is me. I've read the spoilers. Well, some of the spoilers. What kind of wheel will you use? Kingdom of Christ. Okay. Anyways, I pulled up to the top of the comments again. I'll go through them in order. I'll skip over the ones I already read. Let me just download this. And then we can get started on the stream. I want to talk for this stream about... I want to discuss the historical origins of the King of the World, Imu Sama, and the relevance of it to Queen Lily. I think Oda is definitely a genius. You know, when you go to school, college, or graduate school, or maybe you just decide to do something else entirely, that's cool too. But a lot of those people, you know, major, you get a bachelor's degree, you get your master's degree or your PhD. But what separates true genius? And so Oda, I don't know if he went to school for history. I'm not that knowledgeable of Ichiro Oda as the man, set aside the author. But from what I've heard, he either studied history avidly or has an avid interest in history. And if we present him from the perspective of a student, right, like Oda's knowledge and all the different historical elements that he's woven together to create this masterpiece is truly a marvel. Especially when you consider the recent chapters, this chapter, right, that we're going to be talking about today, the spoilers for it, as well as chapter 1084. But you understand what I'm saying when we get to that part of the stream. Okay, should be like 2 minutes now. Confused where this sound coming from. Okay, we have an issue here. We're trying to find out where the sound is coming from. This is turned off. This is turned off. I don't know where this is coming from. Damn, I guess my side computer froze. Man. Okay, I'm restarting the computer. 1 second. Okay, we'll just do this without the. We'll do it without for now. Let me go back to the top. We just check and make sure people didn't leave. I was trying to fix. That's not it. Okay. this to the side a little bit. Make sure. Okay, that's good. Strange because I don't know why they don't have they don't have a replay option going. This is weird. So wait, they don't have the repeat button going on. Okay, there we go. Now I got it. All right. Let me just pull back up a YouTube. We can get started on this. Okay, we are back. I got that set up. Now, all right, chat. I'm here to stay now. I think we got a donation from somebody. Let me go and check. Okay. Shout out to Landberry. Appreciate the $5, my guy. Yeah, Landberry is an animator. I'm sure many of you know who he is. He makes a bunch of manga, and well, he takes the manga and he turns it to life. And I recently saw a video from him, which I should probably mod some. Let me mod Landberry, and then maybe I don't know if Landberry, after I mod you, if you'll be able to share your video in the chat. But if you want to promote your channel, feel free to go ahead. But yeah, sometimes I will show some of Landberry's animations in my videos. Hopefully you guys click on some of the links I put to his channel in the description box and pinned comments. Add as moderator. Managing moderator can manage blocked words and change chat modes in live, and also has capabilities of standard moderators. Okay, so make it standard. I don't know what's better. I'll just put standard. I don't know. Okay. So let me read the comments and then we'll get to the actual stream. And Jesus says, Valhalla. Oh, you got spoiled, Landberry. Yeah, I used to get spoiled in the past, and then I just decided I might as well just spoil myself for now. There are certain moments where I try not to get spoiled, but it is what it is. I think even maybe Rogers Base has that mindset now. I think he said something on Twitter about he's gotten over getting spoiled. I don't know if that's changed. What's good, Desnez the Dwarf? A-Baller says, AOA Ragnar stream. I haven't caught one in a long time. That's because I don't stream. I'm going to start streaming more, though. Maybe. What is One Piece, Ragnar? I think the One Piece is the friends we made along the way. I'm joking. Okay, so yeah, this was the original comment that I got. Let me address this real quick. So, ever since this whole AI breakout, although I've noticed that a lot of people don't like artificial voices, they're not good enough yet. Maybe that speaks well of humanity. I've seen a lot of artists be upset with artificial intelligence, right? And then now we have viewers that don't like it. So yeah, this is my voice. And if it ever sounds a little bit different, outside of bad audio, which I apologize for, I don't know what's going on again, I'm not that tech savvy. I like to narrate and take what I'm reading, you might say, seriously. I think Eric from the Red Voice podcast once told me I dramatize, or dramatize, however you say it, what I'm reading, which is true. Well, back when if you guys can relate to this, when you were in high school or middle school, even in college, when the teacher would go around the room and have people read, some people read like they did not want to be there. And it was unbearable for everybody, in my opinion. Because if we got to be here, we might as well try, right? And so I would read with intention. And I try to bring the characters I was reading to life, or whatever it was I was reading. I fell in love with words. Some would even call me a writer because I was writing for a time. Never actually got around to writing a book like Joy Boy, but on that subject, shout out to Joy Boy. Definitely check out his book. Go check him out on Twitter. I think his book might be in his about section or description box, whatever you call it. Yeah, The Booms, I think, is one of the best books I've read in a long time, and I'd highly recommend it. But back to my original point. So I was losing my train of thought. Yeah. So I don't have an AI voice. This is my real voice, and I like to narrate, and that's been born from my childhood experiences, right, with reading and writing as well. And sometimes when you hear my voice, it's just me dramatizing it to an extent. I have toned it down a bit. For those of you that were here from day one, I was going off the deep end with trying to sound like a Viking, which I'm not. Um, but I have mad respect for. Well, look, the Vikings did a lot of messed up stuff. I just watched Vinland Saga, the most recent episode from season 2, or whatever season it is. You have to confront your respect for the Vikings with your sense of these people are evil. Like you just can't get around it. Uh, but then there are some of them that stand out, right? Like Thorfinn. I was a big fan of Ragnar Lothbrok. Not Ragnar from Vinland Saga. He's definitely a scrub. But Ragnar Lothbrok, the historical Viking king and hero. Okay, let me get back to the comments instead of going on. But yeah, this is my real voice for people that are wondering. Well, this is my real voice, and this is me kind of talking casually to you guys, which you may or may not like, you may or may not get used to. I'm gonna try and stream twice a week because I have big plans. I have a whole notes folder full of ideas that I've been dying to act on, but I've been so busy. I've been in grad school for business. And if you guys didn't see my community post, I want to speak to some people from India. We're going to go around the world. Like we're going on a little pirate journey without me leaving my house, right? I'm getting on a boat, the Going Merry. Then we're going to have a funeral, just like Luffy, and then we'll get the Thousand Sunny. I'm going to travel the world virtually, and I want to speak to different audiences and like give more shine to their voice, because most of my audience I think is from the United States, but I do have people from around the world, like other content creators. But I would like for the people here that are predominantly from the US or the West to hear voices from elsewhere. So like India, maybe some parts of like the Middle East or whatever, Africa, Latin and South America. I think that'd be a cool thing to do. And even in like this little group chat that we have as content creators for the Reverie, I think we're discussing, I saw people discussing like a global meetup, which would be cool to do, if there was a way to translate voices in real time, be able to have a Reverie where you could speak to people that have an entirely different maybe cultural perspective when they interact with One Piece, because I do think, because I'm a Westerner, I live in America, I think a lot of us at times speak on One Piece, but we do so largely from a Western perspective. At least that's the dominating narrative I hear. It's either from Europe or like Britain, the UK. I hear people talking about, UK One Piece Twitter. Just different worldviews. I think would be interesting to see how people interpret One Piece and apply to their own lives. As you've seen from my recent video, as I'll show you on the screen, about why Oda created Imu. In the video, we go over how some of what Imu does, or whether you think Imu's scary or not. Based on the poll I conducted, most of you aren't scared of Imu, which I think is what Imu wants. Imu doesn't want you to be scared of him. Imu wants you to think that he's no big deal. But I think it's a pretty big deal if you can erase history entirely, create a narrative, and because understand that stories direct lives at times, and what you read can shape what you believe. And that's probably one of the strongest abilities, if not the strongest ability, devil fruit or not, in the entire story. Like, imagine if Luffy's entire pirate journey was predicated on false history. That if Luffy knew the truth, maybe he would have never become a pirate to begin with. And so by your actions, especially if it was done by design and you knew it would lead to this particular outcome, your actions have the ability to change fate itself, or influence fate and destinies. Because some people that we know today that are very successful and famous only did what they've done because of what they read or what they watched. And they thought they were living up to the example of somebody maybe that they admired. Like, think of somebody that is an idol of yours, whether it's a sibling or a brother, an athlete, a actor, a politician, whatever it is. And now imagine if you just tweak a few things in the historical accords of what they said. And now you love this person entirely. And you think, oh yeah, they believe this as well. When that little detail they actually don't believe. But because you have so much respect for this person and this particular aspect of history, you adopt that as your worldview as well. And there are people out there that do that. Some people, you talk about being free thinkers. You have some people that solely echo the thoughts of those they respect and admire. They're kind of like clones or whatever. You can let me know what you guys think about that in the chat if you want. But yeah, the video's on the screen, if you can still see it. Let me make sure that the live stream is still working. Okay, we got some super chats. Let me pull this up. I have so many tabs open, my computer's incredibly slow. Sorry about that. I'm trying to see the super chats. Some of you just donated but left no messages. Okay, we got a donation from, let me get your name right, Niali Sababe 1. Thank you for the $10, Niali Sababe. You can also, I don't know if the option's turned off, let me know. I think you should be able to, if you want to, maybe you just didn't want to say anything, but if you want to leave a comment, feel free to add a comment with your message, and I'll see if I can respond. All right, let's get back to the chat. Where were we? Ominous background music. Yeah, I tried to find something that would be ambient for the stream. I just didn't want to talk. And then also the other thing is I had to tweak the microphone. Again, the audio issues we've been having. And I think I've gotten an idea of what was going on. My mic was turned all the way up in terms of gathering sound. So it was picking up every little detail, including like, you know, the wind slightly or the slightest of static. But now it's turned down like pretty much like halfway, a little more than that. So it should be a little quieter than the ambience kind of might cover or might mask whatever little static you'll be hearing. VinlanD should do a face reveal. I actually planned on doing a face reveal when I got 1,000 subscribers. I didn't promise anybody, but I planned on doing. I had originally planned on doing a face reveal back then. I am interested in seeing, like, with this advent of AI and other things going on, and so many people making content without showing their faces. You would think that you'd have a leg over the competition if you show your face, and at the same time, cameras have been around much longer, and so, you know, some people might not be comfortable with their voice, others with their face or whatever. In my case, I was more than willing to do so, and now I'm, you know, there are other things I do outside of YouTube. So, these are different things I have to consider, but it is what it is. 3 p.m. in Germany. Shout out to Germany. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, sometimes some YouTubers work well without it. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I personally don't care. Like, I don't care to see somebody's face. I don't mind it, but I don't need to see it. I've seen how it makes it more relatable and allows content creators to, I guess, well, I would use the word relatable, relate more to their audience. It's more personalized, I guess, or personable. At the same time, I know that others out there just want to listen and hear stuff, right? They're not most people are not there for the creator themselves. That's more of your hardcore audience. Most people just want to hear your ideas. I like to imagine VinlanD looks like Shanks. How off do we think he is, chat? Shanks and I definitely have the same will, but like my hockey is definitely on Shanks' level. But in terms of me looking like Shanks, let's see. Off topic. I wonder if the swords. No, you are exactly on topic. I'm off topic. This is from Marcin Wolski. I wonder if the swords placed 800 years ago by an empty throne are or were descend. I wonder. Oh, are you saying descendants, Marcin? I don't know if you're still in here, Marcin Wolski. This was a while back. If you catch his live stream afterwards, or if you're still here, you can leave a comment. I wonder if the swords placed 800 years ago by the empty throne are or were from descendants. I'm going to be your editor. I think it was confirmed. What do you mean, like descendants of who? You think they're all members of the D clan? That'd be crazy. If all of those kings are also members of the D clan. But I don't know if that's the case. I mean, I think we've already confirmation in other instances that's not the case. But that also relates to the spoilers as well, which I can't wait to get to. Came to see what's up, and here's a black screen. Opa. Any anime recommendations? Vinland Saga. I haven't been. I'll be honest with you. I have not read. I've read a considerable amount of anime, or I've read and watched a considerable amount of anime and manga. But if you were to say that 100 represents everything there is to read and watch, 0 means you have not watched or read anything, I'd put myself at a 20 or a 30. Being honest with you, especially in the last 4 or 5 years, I've been in graduate school and doing other stuff, and really trying to grind to get to 100K on YouTube. I've only been focused mainly on One Piece. I was reading My Hero Academia, and I watched some of the anime. Now I'm behind by like 100 chapters probably. But I do plan on, because I'm starting another channel outside of the second One Piece channel, whatever it's gonna be for other stuff too. I do plan on reading more. That other channel I think you guys are gonna really like. It's going to be something that is more mainstream as well as more relatable to your lives. I always say as a content creator, based on what I've learned in my lived experiences, that we want to add value to the lives of our viewers. Otherwise, why are they watching our videos? They're wasting time, right? So I think that's definitely a motto too. Or if there are any content creators listening right now, they might agree with me. That's definitely a motto to adhere to. I'm doing good. This is me. The guy who narrates your other channels sounds so much like Kratos to me. It's pretty cool. Oh, you mean Red Star? Yeah, Red Star's alright. Need to start putting out some more content over there, though. What kind of wheel will you use? The kingdom of Christ. Is that a riddle? You asking me a riddle? Jesus, if you're still in the chat, are you asking me a riddle? The wheel of time, the wheel of fortune. The Wheel of Fate. I don't know what the right answer is. Those are like I think book novels or whatever. Imu's identity is based on Morgan. Nika Senpai. If I search this up right now, am I gonna get copyright struck or community guideline violation? Should I even look this up on stream? You know what? I'm not gonna do that. Morgan Le Fay. Hold on a second. It's good. This is okay. Well, I thought it would tell me, but it'd be cool if I had like a Chat GPT thing here, because Chat GPT as a bot would tell me without me having to get any images or whatever who Morgan Le Fay is. I just don't want to type that in and something random pops up. Yeah, full spoilers. Cosmos should be dropping today. I'm good, Paulo. Senpai, your voice is too much. It soothes my mind. Well, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to give you all an enjoyable experience, a mental massage. I'm surprised you've never pursued voice acting. Well, voice acting, I think, still has a lot of purpose, but with artificial intelligence, I think we're going to have to call into question. Because with artificial intelligence, I think it's going to become so advanced in the future that you'll be able to manipulate every single kind of like frames of an image, which I sometimes do when I make anime edits. You'll be able to manipulate every single frame, you could call it, or millisecond of sound to bend it to have, anger or fear or sadness or terror. Or I said fear already, right? Or rage, heightened emotions and fluctuations that actually embody humanity. And when it gets to that point, we're gonna have to ask, people get awards in Hollywood, Oscars and or Emmys, sometimes for voice acting in animated films. But now you can use a robot, and that robot can actually bring back the voices of the dead and other stuff. AI is still kind of trash, and I've noticed a lot of viewers will say that this just sounds like like crappy AI, but it's gonna get to a point where it's gonna blow our minds. We're seeing that with video footage already. We could I think we maybe I don't know I don't want to make it members only. Maybe we could do streams sometimes. I'll plan on making a Twitch, and it'd be a little different than the One Piece content, but maybe we could make streams sometimes where we talk about other things than One Piece, but they also relate to One Piece in some way. I think AI and the computer stuff with Egghead Island is pretty cool. Okay. We're going to get to the spoilers and a theory that I shared on Twitter in more detail in about 10 minutes. Let me just continue going through the comment section. Okay, we're almost done. The spoiler is another L for the world government, to be honest. Are you saying that the fact that Sabo, which is in the spoilers, got away from the Gorosei, that's an L? We'll see what happens. I am interested in hearing what you guys have to think about Imu's ability, because it's a reveal first. If you guys want to leave a comment in the chat, how do you feel about Imu's ability having undertones of Moria, if that is Imu's ability? It is also interesting that Imu is such a silhouetted character, right? Imu's been a silhouette. I wonder who is the longest, or what is the longest a character has been a silhouette for? Has Imu remained a silhouette the longest in the story, or are there other characters that have remained a silhouette longer than Imu? Because Imu really does embody the essence of a shadow, and that kind of does speak to Oda's brilliance, that this character feels so shadowy. The Shadow King. The Shadow King of the world. He's not supposed to exist. It reminds me of presidents, how they have chief of staffs. And I'm sure they have other terms and relationships like this in other countries. I've always said that if I had a choice between being a president, a vice president, or chief of staff, I'd be the chief of staff. And the reason is you affect and design most of the policy. Yes, history will be written by the victors, by the person that stands at the very top, which would be the president. And so he gets the, what's the word for it? Accolades. He gets the rewards, trophies are bestowed upon him. Whereas you just kind of stand in the shadow, but you know that it was by your design and that you were the one that truly shaped the world by negotiating policy and breaking deals and doing all this stuff. It's an interesting way to look in the past, whether it's here in America or other places. The people behind the scenes that are actually affecting designs, where you have these figureheads that speak to the people and whatever, but they aren't really the ones that are always crafting legislation. They just sign it. It's like the executive of a company. My brother, he works somewhere, and he told me a lot of these guys, they don't really do much. They kind of just sit there. I mean, some of them do a lot of work, but some of them is, sign documents, whatever, give the go-ahead. And there's somebody else that is coming with ideas and affecting operations and all that stuff, and they are the ones that are making that long-lasting legacy possible and shaping the world. Nika Senpai. Oh wait, let me read 8Baller real quick. I remember before YouTube and Google existed. Early YouTube was an interesting place, that's for sure. I regret not starting a channel back then. Yeah, if I had known about the digital economy, and I would say this to anybody right now, as a side hustle with the way the world is changing, definitely hop into the digital space now. For the sake of my own survival, so I don't go extinct as a One Piece creator. I think we have more than enough One Piece channels out there. I would try to diversify yourself, and these are things that I've shared personally with some of the creators in the past about, or well, at least people that were new to the space, and I said try to be different. Definitely try and think of different ways that you can engage YouTube that others have not done yet. And if you intend on entering a specific niche, try and engage YouTube in a way that can be unique to that niche. I actually saw something on Twitter, because I follow people outside of this anime space and everything. And I saw some of you on Twitter as well telling me you appreciated me following AI and all that stuff, because otherwise you would have never heard about it or heard updates. So, and the algorithm, the way that Elon has it now, or at least it's always been, or Elon Musk or whatever, it's like now like promoting. I think they might have done this in the past as well, and I just never noticed this. Maybe it's not him, but they're now promoting who some of your mutuals follow to you before you show no interest, and they'll stop doing it. And so one of the things I think was promoted was where, I'm trying to remember what the tweet was. It was a tweet about when you enter into an industry or a profession, and you select what you want to do. And so maybe some of you are in college listening to this right now, so I'll give you a cheat code to life, a life hack. They're talking about how there are so many geniuses and brilliant people in the tech space that it's hard to stand out. Only the elite of the elite will become recognizable, and billionaires and all that stuff. Or you get lucky, that happens too, right? But they said that there are other industries out there that are less competitive, in which you'd have an easier time dominating. I heard somebody say that outside of tech there is like dealing with oil and natural gas, or like that kind of stuff. Going into supply chains, or a whole bunch of other different areas, And so I thought it was something worthy of considering. Like, if you're a really smart person, do you want to compete against a bunch of other really smart people for the top position? Or do you want to be a really smart person in another industry that is lacking in, really accomplished individuals? And so it becomes a lot easier for you to become a multimillionaire or billionaire because you have no competition. Is there not a form of intelligence in that design, in that approach to your life? Just something to consider. So Nika Senpai says, for me, you are the best content creator of One Piece. So I appreciate that, Nika. I think my favorite content creators in One Piece would have to be. Again, I think I don't really watch much One Piece videos from others anymore. I used to watch more in the past, and that goes for anime and manga in general. I'm just so busy now. And when you're making One Piece videos all the time and talking about it, whether in streams or on Twitter, it becomes like a little bit too much. But my favorite One Piece content creators have been for a while Joy Boy and I think Brago, maybe. But I like all of them, right? Aside from them, I watch sometimes I watch Morge or O'Hara, two very talented individuals, very distinct content styles. I even love seeing the evolution in their work as somebody that's studying, business and stuff like that. And I do that on the side. It's cool to see how they've evolved in their processes, and based on just stuff that I've heard, maybe I've been a streamer and I've heard it. Whatever they do, whatever they studied in school or whatever, it seems that maybe have influenced their approach to YouTube, and I can kind of see it when I watch their videos. Personally, I've learned vastly more through self-research than school. Yeah, I think the future of education is going to become far more independent, and you keep on hearing, increasing numbers of people that want to be homeschooled. I saw again, I think Elon on Twitter talking about, he was talking about, and this is something that me and my brothers have conversations on too. I have two brothers. We talk about, well, one of the major changes in the modern world, I think, is education, and the fact that the internet can be just as educational and valuable, if not more so, than a college degree. And this comes from somebody that went to college, did very well, got 4.0, went to grad school, and did the same thing with a 4.0. At the same time, I had a conversation with somebody from LinkedIn the other day, and I spoke to them, and they're a big designer in a business person in New York City or New York, and they were telling me basically that college is kind of overrated, and they see very, and this was his honest admission to me, they see very, and he used to be a coworker of my brother, they see very little distinction between a college grad that didn't go to grad school, right? So you're just an undergraduate that graduated, unless you went to a very elite school, right? For the name recognition, they'll hire you. But they see very little distinction between a college graduate and a high school graduate. Now, this is not me telling you not to go to college, right? Definitely go if you want to pursue something meaningful, get a good education if you want. There are alternatives to it as well, right? You can get a trade or whatever. Or maybe you want to be a YouTuber or a streamer. If that's the case, obviously just starting while you're young, just to see how it would end up. But yeah, he's just been questioning in terms of the value of higher education, but and you're seeing some companies, especially on Wall Street and other places, that are now no longer requiring bachelor's degrees. I do think it also pertains to, there's like a certain shift that's going on where apparently like a rising number of men are not going to college for some reason. I don't know what's behind that. Maybe in the chat you guys can let me know, but I think that does become an issue, because then how do you hire people? I mean, you could hire the women, you could do that as well. So I don't know why they would change that, but who knows? I don't have the answers. But yeah, a lot of companies apparently are increasingly not requiring college education. So I probably have to look into it more to figure out why that's going on, but okay, Mr. Sin's talking about what I said about Oda and history. You can tell he loves the variety of cultures around the world and how they influence his own for sure. Yeah, it's true. Daniel Keys, thoughts on the Egghead arc thus far? Okay. So I think I dropped a poll on Twitter, and give me a follow, you guys, on Twitter. If you see this video, I'm not capping, I do interact with all of you. You're gonna get a like, a retweet, a response from me. Just because I don't follow you back doesn't mean that I'm some kind of like clout demon, or, I think I'm better or something. It's just because I don't want to have my feed overwhelmed with random stuff, you know? It is what it is. I mean, if you only follow people that follow you back, I understand. But, my policy is kind of similar to other YouTubers in this space, simply because of, well, it is what it is. Got a dog barking in the background. Okay, okay. But yeah, the Egghead Island arc. Sorry about that, Daniel Keys. I was focused on something. I think Egghead Island. I dropped on Twitter, so I was giving a shout out to. I dropped a poll on Twitter asking people, and right now that poll is. Let me pull it up. Actually, pull that up. Oh wait, this is my obvious. This would be it. Let's try. Yeah, this is my Twitter chat. If you guys want to follow me, you can see it on the screen. Go ahead. I wonder if I have it too far to the right or to the left. I'm watching two screens at once, trying to see if you guys can see it because the way my setup is. Okay, we just barely made it. That's good. All right. Now this right here, the moon god theory, I do wonder if I got that right. I don't know. I think it was either the moon god or the earth god, but the earth god might actually be that character from Skypiea. There's something funny that I shared on Twitter in the past where, like, if you put that guy under Imu's coat, they look kind of the same, but it is what it is. Okay. Well, I can't even show the results of the poll because I'm not even logged in. It is what it is. But I think yes. If you guys go to the poll right now on Twitter at VinlanD and you click yes or no, whatever you agree, it's like 80 to 90% of people saying that they think that Egghead Island is better than Wano. Now that some people call it recency bias, right? And they could be right about that. At the same time, we've had just non-stop chapter after chapter after chapter of just pure hype. There's maybe been like one or two slow chapters or whatever, but for the most part, we leave Wano, Oda's destroying an entire island with Imu, and then Blackbeard showing up making his move, and Shanks is, we're just going from there all around. And all these endgame characters are just pure hype. Think about that for a moment. Like, this is all we're going to get till the end, and it's only going to get better. It can't possibly go downhill. Which makes it such a great time, of course, to be a One Piece fan. we're just going to be seeing nonstop of, I mean, obviously Luffy, the GOAT, Zoro, and all of them, right? I mean, Zoro's not going backwards, right? Zoro is only going towards the Black Blade. We have that to look forward to. Sanji's legs are only getting hotter. Blue, what do we can get? Like white leg Sanji, black leg Sanji. We're going to be seeing Dragon, the Flame Emperor Sabo, the Admirals, the Gorosei now apparently have devil fruit abilities. Like, okay, let me just log into this. Chat back. Okay. Izzo. Who's Izzo? He's a check mark. 1 second, Izzo. I'm going to check the Discord. I'd have to have Discord set up if I was gonna bring anybody on. This is kind of like a solo stream right now. I mean, wait, is somebody trying to hop in here? Is somebody still trying to hop in here? Let me just read the comments and see what's going on. I don't know if there's anybody else in here. But yeah, this is kind of a solo stream right now. I don't have everything set up to do that, and I'm not trying to put like login information on the screen. So yeah, Lamberry, I actually have a Shure microphone. I think it might be the SM7B. I think I'm using it right now. I just don't know if I have the functionality set up properly. And in the future, like, I plan on moving into a new place in the coming, by the end of the year. I think in December or January, I'm going to be moving into a new place. Or November, December, or January. That's when I'm planning to do that. And I'm going to have somebody do a setup for me and get my audio all good and everything. Now that's when we know, right? For those of you that are on this journey with me, that's when we know that we're going to be headed towards we're going to be conquering YouTube. We're going for the throne. Should I just read the comments all the way down, since I don't know what's going on right now? I probably won't understand what's happening afterwards if I don't. Where are we on this? Wow, there's a lot of comments actually. Okay. So Rudy, you know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna read the spoilers first. Let's read the spoilers first, then I'll finish reading the comments. Then we'll go back and we'll brainstorm together about the spoilers. By that point in time, maybe some more spoilers will drop. Then I'm going to share with you guys the theory about ancient Egypt, okay? So we're gonna do it in that order. Let me write that down. Let me write that down right here. So, because I'm gonna forget otherwise. So read spoilers. Read comments. Brainstorm spoilers. Ancient. Okay. So there we are. So while you guys are waiting for the full spoilers to come out for the full chapter to whether it's the scanlations or the official, whichever one you read, feel free to check out this video here on the screen. Why Ichiro Oda created Imu. Because I think it is a great prelude, introductory video or whatever to the chapter itself. Like, to get you hype about what exactly Imu stands for and how significant this chapter is in terms of Imu making his move it doesn't seem like Imu cares anymore. Like Imu's just ready to cleanse everything. Imu's ready for it. He's done. He's done playing. If you want to understand why that is, watch this video about why Oda created Imu. And it also ties in. It actually ties into some of the things I was talking about earlier in the stream. Okay, so the spoilers for One Piece chapter 1085. These are the early spoilers, so they're not the full spoilers, I think. So the title of the chapter is "The Death of Nefertari Cobra." We learn that Queen Lily's real name is Nefertari D. Lily. We see Imu attack Cobra and Sabo with a black or shadowy arrow. In addition, we see Imu discover that Wapol is spying on them, but Wapol runs away. And that actually takes us back to, the speculation, right, over whether or not Wapol had seen Imu-sama. He was acting terrified, and so the logical conclusion was, oh, he's just scared, right? Not that he's scared, but he was scared of something. Some people said, oh, he's just scared because, he ran off with Vivi, and after Vivi or whatever was going on, he doesn't know what's going on. And then others, including myself, were saying he probably saw Imu and knows the true significance of there being a king of the world. And so, yeah, in addition, we see Imu discover that Wapol is spying on them, but Wapol runs away, and I just read that part, and we have Vivi was captured by CP0, and Wapol appears in the room where CP0 and Vivi are. Now the question is, how does Vivi get away? Is it Sabo? Is it Joey Bani? How does Vivi escape? Maybe the Revolutionary Army. Nefertari Cobra and Sabo... Nefertari Cobra asks Sabo to tell both Luffy and Vivi that we are from the D family, the family of D. We share the same will, the will of D. The will of D probably is what I am most hyped for in the entire series. Like, I was even thinking about getting a tattoo with like the will, like something related to the will of D on me. I don't know. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I want to see what it means first. Getting a tattoo of something and you don't actually know how it ends is a terrible idea, in my opinion. Like, you get the will of D and then you find out it's something crazy. Now you gotta get it, like, lasered off or whatever. Okay, this is some extra information. Cobra knows the Imu name, and it seems that he or she might be one of the 20 founding leaders of the world government. That'd be pretty cool if Queen Lily is one woman and then Imu is another woman and they're both competing for some kind of power. Have we ever seen that dynamic in One Piece where it's two women, right? Like, having a political or philosophical conflict and their vision of the world at the very top, right? It's usually like a guy and a guy or a guy and a woman. That'd be interesting to see if Imu is a woman, right? You have an Ice Queen type character, right? An evil queen, and then you have the good queen kind of combating. It'd be kind of like if Yamato became the shogun of Wano, and you have Yamato or Hiyori. I don't know, Hiyori's a bad example because Hiyori's weak. Maybe Yamato, right? Man, Big Mom. Okay, let's go back to this. And so Cobra's giving a speech kind of like, let's see, Professor Clover and Vegapunk might even end up dying. At least one of them will, maybe. One might survive and be giving a speech about science and the world history. Who knows? Or maybe he'll survive to the end and help make the world a better place under the new world government. But Cobra also dies and he's not allowed to finish his speech. And I actually predicted this in my video. I said that I would prefer if Imu uses like a Tsukuyomi, which is kind of like a moon-related ability, sending you to like a shadow world. I didn't predict the shadow part, but I just said in my video that I would have liked to see Imu be the one to kill Cobra, his or herself, instead of a Gorosei member doing it, or giving the order. So either a Gorosei member kills Cobra or Imu kills Cobra. And it seems like Imu killed Cobra on his own. Now here's the thing, right? The Gorosei gave an order for one of the world government agents of Cypherpol, right? Or Marine or whatever, to shoot Clover. But the Gorosei already knew the name of the ancient kingdom, likely, and they simply didn't want anybody else to hear the name. And yet here you have the Gorosei themselves that are apparently unaware of certain aspects of history. So understand this. There are levels to this. Imu didn't want the Gorosei to hear the rest of Cobra's speech, it appears. We've got to read the chapter first, but Imu didn't even want the Gorosei to hear it. There are certain things in this story that only Imu knows. And maybe some others discovered by making it to Laugh Tale and, learning the true history and all that stuff. So there are other people in the One Piece world too that probably know certain things, and Imu's currently hunting them down. But in terms of the hierarchy of power, the Gorosei are not even trusted by Imu. Imu doesn't even want them knowing certain things about history, perhaps. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. But in this case, again, let's go back to what I was saying. We have a Gorosei member on Ohara give an order for one of the agents to kill Clover because you guys aren't allowed to learn that or hear this. It's forbidden knowledge. Now you have Imu that doesn't want the Gorosei to hear certain things about the Will of D and Queen Lily, or whoever else is in attendance. Now, it's possible that the Gorosei are allowed to learn certain things like Imu. And maybe I'm entirely wrong, even though I think it sounds kind of cool. Maybe I'm entirely wrong, and the reason this chapter, when we see more, is Imu would have not killed Cobra, but Cobra had to die because Vivi and Wapol, or maybe just Wapol, was in attendance, right? So because others that weren't supposed to be there were present is why Imu killed Cobra, because Imu could not risk some other person hearing the conversation. At the end of the day, they probably would have killed Cobra anyways, right? Because the distinction I'm drawing is whether or not the Gorosei were allowed to hear it or not. Maybe the Gorosei were allowed to hear it, but it was really Wapol that Imu didn't want to hear it, so he killed Cobra so that Wapol wouldn't hear anything. But at the end of the day, if Cobra leaves, he's going to tell a bunch of other people, so he's a dead man anyways. He was a dead man the moment he walked into that room. Some of these ideas I definitely should have included for my for the chapter review, but I think it's actually good brainstorming them like this. Okay, and now we get to... It looks like the Gorosei have Delphu powers. After Sabo attacked the Gorosei, a huge monster-like shadow, or huge monster-like shadows appeared behind the Gorosei, which is interesting. And all shadows are different from each other. Which makes you wonder if those are the Gorosei shadows being manipulated by Imu. And so what people are saying, right, we can just brainstorm this now. People are saying Imu, I spelled that wrong. So some people are saying, what if Imu can manipulate their shadows, and so his ability is like Moria's, but better. Or different, at least, as we see in the story of One Piece. Or maybe Imu has every devil fruit ability. Can you imagine that? Would that not make Imu a god-like figure? If Imu can use every single devil fruit power, I should say, including maybe Luffy's, or maybe with the exception of Luffy's, Imu, or maybe with the exception of Luffy and Blackbeard, who knows? Imu has every Logia, every Paramecia, on and on. As a final opponent, that would be overwhelming. And it's possible Imu does. But then I always say that wouldn't that kind of make Blackbeard even less intimidating, because we see Blackbeard as a character that we expect to get a third devil fruit. We're already amazed he has 2. We expect him to have 3. And so the hype around Blackbeard having a lot of devil fruits would be diminished significantly by a final adversary that is simply a replica, except on a higher scale, right? So you go from 2 devil fruits to 3 devil fruits, okay, right? That's hype. But then you find a character that has every devil fruit, which would be like thousands, millions of abilities. And then Blackbeard suddenly doesn't matter anymore. So I don't know if that'd be the case for Imu. So we're just playing along with the notion of Imu and this Moria type ability. Maybe it's a different type of shadow ability. I'm going to leave this for the script. I don't really want to get into it here. I have some ideas how this also ties into Lucia Kingdom. But I do think Imu could have a god power that is both light and dark, which is interesting, as Imu would stand before us as a complicated figure. Imu's own answer to the world, as Dragon alludes to, that he will answer the world, or present his own answer to history. Imu's answer to history is one that is perhaps coded in light and dark, and so the shadows. And I'll kind of just tease it right now since you guys are here, and I appreciate those of you that are sticking around to watch. The light beams that fall down onto Lucia Kingdom, could that not be then the power of a moon god? Maybe. Right? The moon that is both light and dark. The dark side of the moon, the light side of the moon. The moon that can reflect the light of the sun, maybe down as like beams of light, or laser beams if that wasn't Uranus. Or maybe if these shadows are a part of Imu's Delphoid ability, then you have both the light beams that fell on Lucia Kingdom, and so the light of the moon, and then also the darkness, the shadow of the moon. But does that sound like an overwhelming final villain to you? Could there be something deeper going on here? There's also what I saw, a image. So you remember that shadowy figure that looked like the Gorosei that attacked one of those Vegapunks? I forgot what chapter it was when it got destroyed. And people were saying, oh, the Gorosei member somehow appeared from the shadows, or it could be that one Cypherpole agent that can, like, open doorways, right? Shadows between shadows between realms. And now people are saying, what if that Gorosei member is not real? What if that Gorosei member is just a shadow? What if Imu can take your shadow and like make it a real person and send it out into the world? What if the Gorosei don't leave Mary Joie, and instead a shadow of that Gorosei was sent to Egghead Island? Are the Gorosei even real? Are they made of shadows? They say Imu doesn't exist, but Imu does. What if it's the Gorosei that don't really exist? Who knows? We got to read the chapter to see what's really going on. The way it's described, I think it might be intentionally vague. Surely there has to be a better way. Like, if the person that wrote this has seen the raws, right? The raw images to make these spoilers, surely they have a better way of describing what they're actually seeing. But yeah, I'm going to actually make just an announcement. I'm going to actually make some perks or benefits for members. I know some of you are members. If you're a member in the chat, I'll try and give you a mod status. And again, I'm going to have some ideas and updates for future streams. If you are a viewer from India, make sure to go to the community post, if you know where that section is on my channel page, or maybe it'll be on the homepage for you in the little list they have. And let me know if you're interested and if you want to talk about One Piece next week. I'm trying to get I was thinking maybe 5 people but it could be more. It just depends. I don't know how good my internet connection and stuff is, so this is working fine now. Okay. What was I writing? What if Imu manipulated? Guess I'm changing my words. Are the shadows bound to go to say? Okay. And yeah, so it ends by saying there's no break next week, which is good. We see Cobra die this chapter, and so I imagine this is it. Like, this is all we're going to get from Imu. And it's as close as we've gotten. Like, we've gotten the silhouette. And then we got the red eye that's glowing. And then we get the voice of Imu. Oh, sorry, that's not how it worked. So when we first see Imu, right, I think we see the hat first, right, the giant hat. So we get a silhouette of Imu. And then we get Imu sitting on the throne and Imu's red eye. And then we get Imu destroying an island in the blink of an eye. All we see is his eye in the final panel or spread. And now we've progressed from getting an eye, right, and seeing what Imu can do via his own power or an ancient weapon, perhaps. And now we get Imu, well, then we got Imu saying his or her first words, Queen Lily, or Lily, or however he said it. And so now we've gone from silhouette to a part of the face, just the eye, to a display of his ability, or a proxy to his ability, what he can do in terms of his attack power. And then we get his first words uttered. And now, in this chapter, we see what Imu can personally do, perhaps. We need to see the panel, right? And it could be a devil fruit, or who knows what it is. Science, a devil fruit ability. We can't really say for sure yet. And so Oda's giving us more and more and more, and we're getting more and more of Imu, and that's how we know One Piece is about to end. I know Morge was having that stream last night. I tapped in briefly. I hopped in the comments and just whatever. I wasn't really there for long. I was there probably for like 10 minutes and I just dipped. I was just like listening, but yeah, I think this is all we get from Imu for now. And so hopefully it's something substantial in the chapter that, holds us over. But that's how you know One Piece is about to end, because the final villain, maybe, is showing us different abilities, right? We're in the end game. And now I do think we're going to go back to the Revolutionary Army, maybe. I think the reason we're getting this story to an extent, obviously, is because Saba was recounting the events, right, of the Reverie. And so we'll probably go back to Dragon's reaction to there being a king of the world and what Dragon plans on doing. And Dragon's either going to go after Kuma if Kuma's staying on Mary Jawa, or he's going to follow Kuma if Kuma's going to Egghead Island and show up there. Either way, after this, I predict we should be getting a meeting between father and son, Luffy and Monkey D. Dragon. And my theory about Shanks, and I said this before, in the distant past my audio was worse, and I saw a comment about that, how they like my audio now. I saw in the past that, I said in the past that Luffy has two father figures. He has a biological father, Monkey D. Dragon, and he has a father figure, red-haired Shanks. Both of these men, coincidentally, are saying the day will eventually come when we meet again. Oda's done that deliberately. And Shanks keeps on delaying it for some strange reason, and now he's directly at odds with Luffy. Shanks does not see himself, I think, as having a happy ending. It'd be a happy ending would be a reunion between him and Luffy, and he denies that to himself. So in every way, he sacrifices something. He doesn't just sacrifice an arm and nearly lose his eye fighting a great evil in Blackbeard. He even sacrifices moments in his life, right? Think about the father or the mother that works full-time plus overtime, never around, but they truly believe they're sacrificing for a better life for their kids because they grew up in poverty, right? So in Shanks' case, and you see both father figures doing this, right? Dragon in his own way, for a revolution, creating a better world for his son and other children out there. But then you also see the ways in which Shanks could again have that happy ending and reunite with Luffy immediately. But it's denied to him, and it's denied to us as readers as well. I mean, there could be other reasons as to why Luffy might not yet be ready to meet Shanks. Maybe we'll get that answer in the future. But it does seem as if Shanks might be headed towards... And this is actually how I spelled it out. If I were to write it, again, Oda would probably do it better, or most likely do it better. But if I were to write it, I would write it as Luffy does return the Straw Hat. He comes across Shanks' body on a rocky island not far from Laugh Tale. Right, kind of like that scene from Bleach where Ichigo arrives, right, with Byakuya. You see blood splattered behind him. And Luffy puts the hat on Shanks' head, returns it to him. And maybe they do have one last conversation. So in that way, right? And then Shanks says, Luffy, is that you? You become a great pirate. That's how I would write it, right? You see him, that's when he acknowledges Luffy as a great pirate. It's Luffy's time now. He's surpassed the master, Shanks. Luffy defeats Blackbeard. Thereafter, Shanks dies. But he's secretly won. I see like Urahara from Bleach as well, right? The guy that was helping Ichigo so that they could defeat Aizen. Another trickster, hiding who he truly was, kind of like Blackbeard, as we believe. And so, yeah, that's how I would write it. I just don't see Shanks surviving till the end, and for some reason, like, I think there's certain characters where if they do survive, it diminishes the aspects of them that make them so interesting. I think Shanks' mysterious nature and his sacrificial nature are important to uphold in the story. And if Shanks survives till the end, it's kind of like I wouldn't understand it. Dragon's entirely different. I don't think we know enough about Monkey D. Dragon yet to truly judge him. We definitely need a flashback and some other stuff about Dragon. All I know is he hates celestial dragons. All I know is he hates or has some. In the recent chapter, right, he displayed a lot of maturity. I mean, he's an older man, of course, right, but with lived experience. But he was talking about the ways in which these celestial dragons can be dehumanized and other stuff, and it's kind of like a parallel to how they will dehumanize at times people that are not celestial dragons. So, Dragon's political philosophy, his worldview. I would love for him to have a conversation with the Gorosei and Imu-sama. Like, I would love for Monkey D. Dragon, the Gorosei, and Imu-sama to have to create YouTube channels and have a live stream. Like, I want them to have their own reverie on YouTube, and we can sit down, we can listen to Dragon and Imu and the Gorosei, debate the One Piece world and their own individual answers to history. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, for some reason I have to keep on reloading. You guys can't hear us? Yeah, you gotta turn your volume up. Yeah. YouTube watcher, I just saw your comment. Sorry about that. Shout out to the Lonely Mage. I appreciate that, Lonely Mage. As an apprentice, I'm going to work on some of the perks and benefits. I promise. Add some cool things in here. I'm also looking for like one or two podcast hosts. I didn't want to reach out to other content creators because I kind of want to do something that's more community focused and get like regular people into this space or whatever. And so I'm looking for like people to like occasionally collab with, and then in terms of like streaming or whatever. And if you do decide to get into some type of space, I'll promote your stuff. Like if you like other series or whatever you want to do. Again, my advice is like not really jumping too much into One Piece because it's far too flooded, but you can do whatever you want. But yes, it's something to consider. Let me mod the Lonely Mage. Okay. Minimum word to change that mod. Alright, Lonely Mage, you are now a mod. Why am I spoiling people? It says spoilers in the title, YouTube watcher. What's up with this guy, YouTube watcher? I don't know what he's doing here. I think Imusama sent this guy. Wait, what? I made you read what? You've been spoiled by the title? It says One Piece chapter 1085 spoilers. I don't understand. Nah, Imusama definitely sent you. I can't scroll up anymore, alright. Let me get back to the comments because I don't want to miss any comments I can't read. What if the Shadow Room is called that to hide Imu's identity and his Delvu power to make his water arrow look like shadows? Here's the thing. So for some reason a while ago I was looking, and this is from Rudy Lowell. For some reason, I decided to type in like water abilities and shadows because, as far as I know, sometimes water is associated with shadows. I don't know why that's in my mind for some reason. When I think of Imu in totality and how it could be related to a moon god, maybe the moon has influence over the water, as I mentioned in my videos, the gravitational force, and it actually competes with the sun. And so you have the sun and the moon that apparently have influence over the tides via their gravitational pulls or forces in general. And so they have domain over the water, and so the sun and the moon are two kings of the world. And so you have the sun god pirate king Luffy, and then you have the moon god, perhaps king of the world, Imu. And in many ways, because when Doflamingo speaks about the throne wars, he's alluding to the empty throne of Goldie Roger, the throne that Roger left empty after he died, the empty throne of the pirate king, and then there's also the empty throne that belongs to the king of the world, which is not truly empty. But a shadow room, they call it the lost chamber, they call it the phantom room. There's an aspect of shadows and ghost-like elements here, isn't there? At least from what I can see. I wonder if this is still playing. Yeah, it is. Skylark's Peak says, I wouldn't mind doing fitness content, but I understand you'd have to be unorthodox. Yeah. You have to stand out somehow. So far I've done 40 ice shower, ice baths, 6 days a week. That's good for what? What's that good for against Skylarks? I'm familiar with the ice bath. What's it called? Methodology, practice, whatever. I'm familiar with it. I've never actually done it myself, but isn't it good for inflammation? Or is it about like weight loss or whatever? "30 days in sauna." Oh, okay. Yeah, and then the sauna is good for sweating and weight loss too. That's pretty cool. Are you like an athlete? You do sports or whatever, or is this just a hobby for you? Marcin Wolski. Okay, so I need to remember my ancient Egypt. Theory. 30 days. It's very interesting. This from Marcin Wolski. It's very interesting that it is all related to ancient Egypt. Take, for example, snakes, or Snake Island Amazon lily. In ancient Egyptian times, there were snakes coming from God's forehead. That would be interesting if somehow Amazon Lily plays a greater role in the story. Now let's actually stop for a moment. Every island in One Piece, I'm pretty sure we can see how it relates now to the end game, right? Skypiea more so than anything else. Shout out to Morge, I think, who really mainstreamed this idea, this notion of a Nell relating to Imu and Skypiea, foretelling a lot of different things in the story. Joy Boy, the sun god, all that stuff. Jaya, Fishman Island. A lot of these islands and what happened there have great significance to the end of the story. But when I think of Amazon Lily, besides what it eventually led to, what about the arc of Amazon Lily itself foreshadows the end of One Piece? Because every arc does. Every single arc in the story I can think of has some relationship, especially the major ones, to the end of One Piece. But when I think of the Snake Island and Amazon Lily, very little comes to mind. Boa Hancock, why is she still in the story? What purpose does she have? So you could be right, Marcin, that there's a lot more to and this might tie into 3-3ville, who I think some of you were talking about in the chat. This might tie into Evil's theory, I think. I didn't see the video, but I know he was promoting on Twitter or whatever. So go check that out if you want to. He talks about Luffy's mother potentially being from the Kuja tribe or something like that. So who knows? That could be true. I think that'd be very strange. I mean, communities tend to get together. This isn't incest or whatever, right? This is just communities, I guess. I doubt that everybody on Amazon Lily is related to each other, and so it wouldn't be that strange with Luffy and Boa's relationship with his own mother being from there. Not necessarily. Yeah, I gotta get I need to add something, I think, to my OBS where I can see announcements or whatever on screen. Because I can't see it. Let's put that right there. started at 9, so in about 2 hours. I'll probably stream for another hour. Read some more comments and then we can get to the theory I wanted to share. Nah, Bader, I haven't checked to see if the full spoiler's out yet. Skylark says, your content is the reason I click. Oh, the reason I click on your content is that it's never a carbon copy of what has already been said. And BDA Law and O'Hara have success for similar reasons. Yeah, O'Hara has really charted out a lane for himself. Shout out to Grand Line Review too. I saw some of you guys mentioning him in here. My prediction though is that I think O'Hara, just because he has mastered what he said he wanted to master, which is the Mr. Beast formula, and I think he did that successfully by finding, not just coming up with a good business strategy, but also finding a really good editor. Because there's no one on YouTube, maybe Grand Line does that, I'm not sure, I haven't seen much videos from him lately. But I don't think there's anyone on YouTube that's really doing the edits that O'Hara does. And so it provides unique value, and it's the only place you can go to get what he does. So it makes sense why he's been so successful. So shout out to O'Hara. Yeah, and then you should mention BDA Law as well. Bravo, yeah. Yeah, Bravo's made some shifts, I've noticed too. Let's see what else you guys have here. Have you all seen that Netflix wants to do a One Piece live action? Yeah, I think it's been around for a while. And they're finally getting the stages. I don't know if the Netflix live action is releasing this year, at the end of the year, or at the start of next year. I haven't really been keeping track. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch every episode, whether it's good or bad. Whether it's good or bad, we have to stand it. I'm gonna leave it 10 out of 10. But then again, people are gonna say, "Oh, you're encouraging bad behavior." If you leave it 10 out of 10, they'll make more. So I hope it's good. Yeah, thanks for supporting the stream, Landberry. Nah, so Landberry, if you're still here, these streams are not just going to be for spoilers. I'm going to be doing 1 or 2 streams a week, typically 2. I'm not always going to cover the spoilers. Sometimes I might. We'll see what happens. I'm going to be covering just a bunch of other things related to One Piece in general. And whatever's in my mind, whatever conversations I'm having, because sometimes I'll just be having these conversations on Twitter or to myself or whatever. I might as well share them with all of you. So Lordville 1993 says, who is your favorite One Piece character? My favorite One Piece character is the guy you see in the opening of my video. Thorfinn. No, Shanks. Shanks got to be my favorite One Piece character. I like, my top 3 would have to be Shanks, Aokiji, and Luffy. So I agree with you, David Ortiz, that the Gorosei are probably strong, but we still gotta wait and see. The spoilers don't really tell me much. I don't know if you guys have seen any other spoilers that I haven't seen. These are the only spoilers I have access to. So we still gotta see what the Gorosei can do. And again, those shadows appearing behind the Gorosei, unless they display their own Delphoid abilities this chapter, is that not merely an extension of Imu's abilities somehow? Like, what? It's very confusing what's going on there. So I got to see the panel itself and see what actually happens, or get a better description. Yeah, chapter reactions would be fire, but again, I got to become more technologically savvy, and I have to find a way to like make sure it doesn't get copyright or whatever. Last time I caught your stream was 2 reveries ago. That might have been it. That might have been with Flying Panda. No, I think it might have been longer than that. Who knows? Oh, so you're saying the Reverie? Okay, so you saw me on the Reverie. What's good, Michelangelo? Oh, 8 Ball, you read the Booms and you loved it. Make sure to leave a review on Google or Barnes and Nobles or wherever Joy Boy has his book. Let me pull it up on the screen. Actually, let's pull up Joy Boy's book on the screen. Where is the profile? Live streaming. Yeah. If you guys want to, let me make sure you guys can see this first. Where are we? Okay. You can kind of see it. Move it over a little bit. So yeah, Joy Boy's book's on the screen. The Booms Volume 1. He has 4.5 out of 5 stars. It should be 5, but you know. Yeah, the Booms, if I were to compare the Booms to anything, I would say that Joy Boy has created his own voice, his own style. The characters, which I know a lot of people care about, that carry a story, are incredible. The idea behind it all, this dystopian world, this, well, you guys can read the description yourself. Given the fact this is Joy Boy's book too, the way that he manages to write the action moments in a way that is believable and relatable, uh, at least in terms of like what the characters are doing, is just a masterpiece. Like Joy Boy was born to be an author, and I know he's wanted to do this for a while. He's calling himself JB. Okay. Anyways, back to the comments. Jay says, I like this voice better than the older videos. Sounds good for a podcast. Yeah, I have a lot of big plans. This new channel I plan on doing, I hope. For those of you, again, follow me on Twitter. I'm going to pull up the Twitter again. Follow me on Twitter right here at VinlanD Ragnar. You can see it on the screen. This is what my Twitter page should look like. It doesn't really say Twitter here. It is what it is. Maybe I should have like added that. Can I go up? I don't even go up. Nope, can't go up. I don't know what that's about. Anyways, follow me on Twitter. I'll have to edit this later. Oh, here we go. That's good enough. Okay, what was I saying? I was looking at the chat. But yeah, my future channels, whatever future channel I plan on doing, is going to be a lot more mainstream. It's going to, I think, be perfect for a podcast setting. I don't know about doing a podcast for One Piece. I just, probably just do streams or whatever with people every now and then. But I'm definitely interested in a podcast for the other channel I started. You'll understand why when I get to that point. Elvin Studio. VinlanD gonna have a third season. Yeah, I think it's such a major success that, and especially because I think like media companies are looking for unique brands or series to take a hold of. Anime has become really popular only in the last, like, people have always liked it, right? But in terms of exploding and becoming mainstream and mainstream discussed, that's like the last, 10 years, I think. Only a decade. And so there's like so much to like delve into. You even see the ways in which, anime is influencing, you know, other animated shows here in the West. I'm trying to think of what that one show was called that was on Netflix. It was really successful. It had that girl with pink hair and it had the sister with blue hair. League of Legends, right? It's based on that. That show was incredible. And it felt somewhat like anime. And you can see the way that anime and emotion is influencing, Western thinking when it comes to designing these shows. You even have, I think, with Michael B. Jordan, with a guy named Jonathan Majors or whatever, they had a movie, and I haven't seen it, but I remember the interview of him saying that it influenced his directing or his vision for it. I appreciate that. Neely's the babe. I really like your voice. Appreciate that. A Baller 10 says Ragnar Lothbrok was a Giga Chad. It's cool he was real. Him and Rolo. I forgot about Rolo. Rolo was great. Ragnar's sons were great. I was concerned for a time with the direction of the show after Ragnar died. They were talking about the historical, show Vikings that was on the History Channel. But they all surprised me. They all went their own way, and they were all incredible in the end. Even the guy that ran off to go meet with Floki or whatever on that random island, the way that the one son that was crippled, he was a menace. And all of them died, or most of them died like legends. Bjorn. Sometimes I watch that moment, the way that the speech, again, you guys know how I like narration. The way they describe what he did in his final moments, that was epic. And of course Ragnar, when he says, "Oh, how the little pigs will grunt when they hear how the old boar suffered." You know how ominous that is? The way that vengeance is described. My sons will avenge me. That was another thing that stood out to me about that show. The show was really good. One of the best TV shows ever. A Baller says, if you want to talk to me, I'm Canadian. So yeah, I'd be down to talk to a bunch of Canadians, including you, A Baller, if you are from Canada. I try to be able to like tell whether or not people are capping or not, or making it up, based if they have an accent or not. But I know that some people don't. It is what it is. I do want to talk to some viewers from India first. If I don't get enough responses from India, then I might have to, shift priorities or approach and like reach out to other groups. I don't know. Even in like America, like, there's different places. I could talk to people that are like, I don't know, like a bunch of y'all might live in Kansas. What's good in Kansas? I've never been to Kansas before. Isn't Kansas the place where we talk about how in One Piece there's the Emerald Island. People think that might be either God Valley or it might be whatever it might be. They think it's an allusion to or inspired based off of the story of there's I forgot what it's called again. There's the crow, there's the robot, right, knight or whatever it is, and there's the little girl or the girl that's like, and there's like the Golden Road, the Wizard of Oz, Wizard of Oz. That's what it is. Yeah. Sorry. Couldn't think of what the story's called at first. But let me just move on from that. Let's get back to the comments. Okay, so we got a comment right here. I was just talking about it. I'm trying to avoid spoilers, to be honest, as much as possible, but just came to see your stream. By the way, I'm from India. Saw your community post. Okay, well, Subra, I hope I didn't spoil you, even though, it says it in the title. Hopefully you were able to, click the stream, put it on mute, bend your computer, laptop, whatever screen down so you can't see anything, and then just somehow type a comment or whatever. But yeah, I'd be down to talk to you, Subra, if you want. I'm gonna post it again, right? So if you ever see the community post in the future, actually even better, I don't know if you have a Twitter, I don't know how I would reach out to you. My business email should be available, I think, on my about section of YouTube or my wherever it is on YouTube where you find it. So however you want to message me, if you want to message me via email, you want to message me on Twitter and follow me if you want to just, however I can get in touch with you. Join my Discord. That's a good way to do it. We'll probably stream from Discord, and I'll make a little section in there once I figure out how to do so. But yeah, we got to find a way for you to get in touch with me too. So once you share interest in the comment section, hit me up on Twitter or send an email, and we'll try to get something set up. So Paul O says, the way how I apply One Piece to my life is to be debt free so I can live my life freely. So you want to be the freest man in the world, but you're charting your own path. Kind of like, again, going back to finding your own answers, Dragon said. Luffy thinks becoming Pirate King will make him the freest man in the world. Others have different ways of acquiring freedom. Some do so via financial freedom. A considerable amount of people do that, actually. So I can agree with that. One thing I'm going to do, because I know that I promised to share a theory on the ancient Egypt, is I'm going to segment out the stream. So one's going to be, just like getting stuff together, or I don't want to label it as. Then the middle part will be spoilers, comments, whatever. And then towards the end of the stream, I will label that section as Queen Lillian Imu's origin story, historically. We got about 40 minutes left. David Ortiz says it was stated that Joy Boy would appear in the next 20 years. Abala says, I think the world government in One Piece reflects our current reality to an extent. There is no world government yet, but the world is run by multinational corporations and criminals. I was looking for somebody to go deep with it. Okay. This is a deep comment, yeah. Look, just the typical realities of the world. If you look at nature and the fact that human beings cannot truly or have not fully escaped from nature, we're still influenced by the notion of hierarchies as hierarchies are applied to nature. There is a food chain in our world amongst human beings. There are people that have a lot of money, and they will always typically have more influence than an individual that has less money. And historically, how do individuals with less money overwhelm the income inequality of those two situations? Well, it's typically mob, like a mob violence, mob justice, whatever, because strength in numbers, right? But even then, there's just always there's levels to the lives that people live. At the same time, there are people that refuse to abide by such notions or to play that game. Some people are incredibly rich by what they define as rich, or incredibly free based on what they define as free. You ever hear the notion of men that say, like even Luffy? I love when Oda in Udon Prison. I love when Oda in Udon Prison had Luffy say he's always been free. Luffy was in prison and he didn't even see it that way. You know what I mean? I know that Kanye got in trouble once for saying that slavery was a choice, which is a crazy comment, but I have heard other people say that if they were on those slave boats, they would just they said they wouldn't be coming off those boats alive, right? So, this. But the question you have to ask yourself: is it really a choice if you have to choose between, life and death? I don't know. Your voice is the most relaxing voice I've ever heard. Appreciate that, Andre. People like celestial dragons definitely exist in our world, a baller. I mean, yeah, there's all sorts of people that look down on others. That's true. And to be honest with you, I relate to that sense of disgust. Like, I don't like people that are like bullies or like abusers or that treat others poorly for reasons that, don't pass the smell test, if you put it that way. They lack good reasoning behind their conduct. Muhammad Rahat Sami. Yeah, I addressed this earlier, Muhammad, about I might one day make like a Google Drive folder because I don't have all my music. I don't have the names. I didn't save them as names, so I don't know what the names are. Sorry about that. Have you considered redoing the voiceover on your Zoro video? Here's the thing, Daskamania. I hate when this happens because sometimes I'll drop a video that I know is like revolutionary in its idea, but my audio gets messed up, and it's typically for a long video. I don't know what happens in that process. And maybe I should have just gone back and recorded the video. I don't know. But it already has like 56K views on YouTube. It just sucks. I wish there was a way that YouTube would let you go back and edit certain parts of your video in real time, but it doesn't seem like YouTube's gonna let me do that, as far as I can tell. I do wonder if I could do that. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. If any of you know something different that I don't, if there's a way for me to re-record that and edit it, even if it won't be fully aligned in terms of what I'm saying, I don't know. It just sucks that video was like, in my opinion, so good, but the audio was so bad. I didn't expect that to happen. It is what it is, though. I mean, it's just a video, and the theory could be wrong. I'm planning a part 2 to the video, though. Part 2 to that video will be dropping, and I'm going to take some elements from it and add some new things, and we're going to keep that video under, hopefully, 15 minutes. And so it will be a shorter version of the video for those that don't want to listen to terrible audio for 35 minutes, which is understandable. So stay faded. Hey, stay faded. I don't know what this comment is in reference to. You say you want to connect with your viewer, and some viewers want to hate on your opinion when they differ. I don't know what that's in reference to. I don't know if you're responding to somebody else, or if you were saying something to me earlier. I don't see you up here anywhere else. Yeah, I don't know what this is in reference to. Let me see if you are still in the comment section. So yeah, I mean, in the future, I will probably do a stream on this channel. I just need to get more comfortable with the technology. Naya, I need to get better at setting things up. I don't want to be struggling to stream with somebody and booking their time, and I can't even get it together. So we'll see what happens. But in the future, I might have somebody else on this channel. Attack on Titan, yeah, I think I'm like 10 chapters behind on Attack on Titan. I don't know why I haven't bothered to finish it yet. It is what it is. I need to read Vagabond. Yeah, you're right, Landberry. I've heard a lot of great things about Vagabond, especially from Fiji. For those of you who know, Fiji is on Twitter. Fiji's always posting Vagabond stuff. So I've watched Monster. Maybe I'll one day read it, but I've watched Monster. I want to watch Monster again. Johann Lieber is definitely one of the best fictional villains, at least in manga and anime, that I've ever come across. Johann Liebert is a menace. Like Johann Liebert's the kind of character that gives you nightmares and you can't sleep. Like you can't, you. It's not one of those things you want to read at night sometimes or watch. I think Monster's even on Netflix. They used to have that on TV on like some sci-fi network. That just shows how popular it is. I told my brother to check it out, but I don't know if he has. Stay Faded says, Stay Faded likes weird things, so he's not comfortable suggesting manga you like. Hey man, so long as you're not gonna get hit by a mod or somebody, you can share it if you want to. If you know how to prompt, ChatGPT becomes ChatGoatPT. That's true. If you know how to train the AI, and there's personalized ones as well, which is controversial, I've heard. When I hear your voice, so Mike Tyndall says, when I hear your voice, I see the old man, dark magician. That's true. Whoever voice acts the dark magician had a good voice, I think. Dark magic attack. I remember that as my childhood. Landberry says the ending of Attack on Titan is mid. We'll see. Once I get to the end, maybe on the other channel I plan, I'll rationalize it somehow. So Joshua Churgan says, who do you want to be the 10th Straw Hat, or who do you believe it will be? It could be Vivi, because, Roger had a Will of D person on his crew, Whitebeard had another, well, Whitebeard isn't a Will of D, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, Roger had another Will of D person on his crew. Maybe Luffy needs another Will of D person. I know some people think Zoro has the Will of D, who knows, right? His family's all mixed up based on what we saw from his revealed family lineage. Maybe there's a hidden Will of D there. So it could be Zoro. I think the people most likely to be a D member of the crew would be Vivi or Zoro. The only way I see Vivi joining the crew is if Vivi gets a devil fruit ability. Or some kind of training. I think Vivi, controlling an ancient weapon on the crew would be a little too overpowered if Vivi does or is able to do that. Who knows? Eight Baller says he'd be lying if he said that AI doesn't scare him a little. It might not be great now, but look how fast it's advancing. He just hopes we can integrate it smoothly into society without it negatively affecting. Comments getting cut off for some reason. I don't know. Imu definitely. So this is me says Imu definitely has something related to ink or mangaka no mi. That is a great point. You think he has like a pen devil fruit where he can write and erase. That's crazy. Let me write that down. You think he has? Let me copy this. So this is a crazy idea, chat. So this is me actually blowing my mind right now. We see Imu take out a map, right? And Imu writes on there with some ink. And then all of a sudden something happens as if Imu had written something into the story. Like imagine that. Imu takes a pen, writes on a piece of paper, and conjures something. Says, hey, destroy this island. This island never existed. And then the island no longer exists. Would that not make Imu a god character? And in Oda's, let's understand this. Imagine Oda acting as if he is Imu of the One Piece story. The author of the story is essentially a god. As I mentioned in the video here on the screen, which would be insane if this turns out to be true. Because this sounds even better than a moon god. Maybe some of you agree with me. Even better than the moon god and things we can conclude about, darkness, shadows, and light. If Imu was like an author, right? Imagine the author of One Piece is the god of One Piece. He can say tomorrow that Zoro or Sanji's gonna die, and it's gonna happen because he's the author. He can wipe these characters out of existence with his pen. We see Imu's first act with a pen. He marks a map. And like an author, he says, this island is being erased from the story. I don't want it anymore. Get it out of here. And the island is destroyed. It disappears. And now we see Imu. They say it's a shadow arrow or it's shadows. Or could it be made of ink? Could Imu have some powers where he is, as I mentioned in the video, God, the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the creator and destroyer of all things? Or the creator and the eraser of all things is what I think I say verbatim in the video. Just like Luffy is rubber and they're rubber erasers, and there'd be a kind of a connection there. If Imu has the power where he can write stuff, that'd be an insane ability. And it would be something that Oda would do because Oda gives people crazy powers. But then again, a moon god would also be the perfect opposition as well. So who knows? I like the idea though. That's pretty cool. I may mention it in the chapter review. Who knows? We'll see what happens. I gotta see what Imu's ability actually looks like first before we actually go there. Oh, that's true. So I was talking about Imu's silhouette earlier, and I think Mike Tyndall and A Baller say that Rox was a silhouette, or has been a silhouette longer, but the reality is both of them are still silhouettes. And so maybe we met Rox first. Can't remember what order, but I am interested to see who gets a reveal first. Is it going to be Rox Dizabek or Imu-sama? Yeah, I agree with you, Naya. I think Imu is a terrifying character. Especially if that theory from This Is Me turns out to be true. Again, you can write things down on a page, but I wonder what kind of restrictions Oda would have on that ability, because it seems so overpowered. Space says, I feel as though there's a missing piece to the puzzle. There is another will we don't know about besides the will of D. That'd be cool. I think the will of D is a little unique in that it is attached strictly to a name, the initial D. I often wonder if it's the will of a person, the will of somebody whose first initial is D. And of course, there are theories about a name related to D that go back, since the beginning of this community. Is it the will of a kingdom? Could it be the will of the ancient kingdom? Could the will of D, could the D stand for the name of, or the first initial of the name of the ancient kingdom, right? So whatever the ancient kingdom's name is, maybe it begins with a D. And so the will of D is the will of that kingdom and its people. What Monkey D. Dragon, or what Roger says, as Dragon's walking, Dragon possibly overheard it. The destiny of an age. No. I think it's inherited will. The destiny of an age. And the dreams of its people. And then he says something about, so long as people, whatever, these things will never cease to be, which sounds like inherited will. And so it could be the will of D that is alluded to there. And mind you, both Roger and Dragon carry the will of D. And this speech is being recited or recalled in this moment between two will of D carriers. And many of us are wondering if Monkey D. Dragon and Roger met each other in the past, similar to Whitebeard and Roger. Perhaps Roger knew they wanted to extinguish the light of his truth and his history and what he learned. And so he tried to share what he had learned with as many people as possible before he died. The prophecy to Whitebeard. The man that Roger is waiting for, what he told Whitebeard. It seems he even told Whitebeard what his middle initial D meant. Who knows if Whitebeard told anybody? Roger might have sat down and had a drink with Dragon as well. He might have shared with him the true history of the world. One person wanted to know the true history. That would probably be Dragon. Roger might have told him. One person might have learned about the will of D. And the man that Roger was waiting for being Luffy. And the great war that was to come. Roger probably told that to Whitebeard. Well, we know he told it to Whitebeard. In most cases. And there are others out there, and the most consequential act that Roger took was the speech that he gave. For in that moment, by saying the One Piece is real and confirming its existence, it was an affirmation of perhaps Joy Boy's highest ideal, this endless pursuit of people's dreams and freedom that the king of the world, Imu, does seem to want to crush and stands opposed to in every way, as exemplified by Tequila Bridge, the bridge to nowhere. Imagine if Imu joined the Straw Hats, says Joshua Churgwin. Oh no, that's definitely not gonna happen. That's crazy. Stay Faded says Rocks is talked about in the past tense. Scarcely. And nobody knows about Imu. It's strange, true. There's an interesting connection you're making here. Well, at least I think you're making it. That the existence of Rocks and Imu have largely been forgotten. Imu more so than Rocks, or at least one case it's hidden, both cases hidden actually. I just wonder, and it's such a shame we're not going to get to see it, but I understand Oda teasing us for us to really be shocked later on. if Imu is not Queen Lily based on these spoilers, or maybe we still don't know exactly what's happening there, who is Imu? I think that's one of the additional spoilers I might have seen that is not included here, where apparently like it's stated that Imu is one of the other kings of the world, and Queen Lily is basically confirmed not to be Imu. So it would just be nice, what I was saying earlier, to I want to see why Koba reacted the way that he did. Is it only because he's surprised that somebody's sitting on the throne? Or did he see the person's face? We need to know that. Oofmatic and Eric Hernandez say that 3 Veil is their favorite One Piece theorist. This is me says the Brago streams are goated. Stay Faded says Arthur is the best theorist. A Baller says you, Joyboy, Teching, Brago, and Morge are my favorites. Nusmania likes JD and his agendas. Yes, the agendas are strong with him. Naya says Teching is amazing. Stay Faded. Oh, see that. Grand Line Review is pretty entertaining as well, says Naya. Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying, Stay Fed. I think that all creators have a different thing that they offer. And you see from some of their views, they have like core audiences, and then occasionally other people come in and watch their other videos. But that's the one thing. Like, if you really establish yourself already as a One Piece content creator, then there's certain things that people will come to you and to you for alone. People tell me my videos put them to sleep. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to serve the people, to read you bedtime stories. So if that's what you're here for, Duskamania says, I can confirm that Ragnar gives likes on Twitter, even to 2 of my stupid comments. Sometimes I don't know where the comment is going, Duskmania, and I'll just like it anyways, because it is good to let people know that you see their comments. You know, people go out of their way to comment, and they don't have to, and that's kind of engagement. So YouTube's a little more difficult because there's just so many comments, but it's a little more manageable on Twitter. And I'm not on YouTube all the time, unless I'm uploading a video. Paul O says the reason why a higher number of men are not going to college is because more are becoming less ambitious, and I think it's to do with the opposite sex less and less men are dating between women. I don't know. Like, I think that look, I have to look into the studies, but I think that if you're going to college, like, you should really be going there. I mean, look, you can chase girls and do other stuff in your time, but if that's the reason you're going to college, it's kind of crazy. And racking up student debt, that's a high cost. I don't think that's the reason, though. I think that just some people just there's a lot of different studies out there, so we're not getting that for this stream. The One Piece YouTubers I have indulged in are O'Hara, Anime Balls Deep, Grand Line Review, and VinlanD. I appreciate that, Copper. Stay Faded says, and school doesn't prepare you for real life. So certain things in school can prepare you for real life, but you definitely should get real life experience. I do think there's and I plan on like creating like a Substack, because like I know I have a lot of ideas and I wanted to like be able to like to share them, and let people read them and we can have a discussion about it. But I do think a lot of people have become so digitized or digitalized, and they don't even realize that their digital personas have now taken over their physical ones, or their real ones. And so a lot of people feel more alive and more like themselves on the internet than they do in real life. And this is a phenomenon that is incredibly recent. I don't think there's been enough research done into it because, again, social media only really took off in 2008 to 2010, and it went from there. That's the last, 15, 16 years? Nearly only 20. And so the ramifications of all this are only now being felt in society, and we see it all around us. But yeah, again, my main point is like some people I think are more digital in their lives than physical. The digital has overwhelmed the physical, if you get what I mean. Naya says she deleted her Twitter when Elon took over. I was gonna make a video. I don't know if I share because I think it'd be. I'm not gonna share because I thought the title would be really cool. Um, so sadly, I can't leave a comment on that because I might still make the video in the future. Who knows? Okay, Ebola says so. The results from that poll I had up about is Egghead Island better than Wano? 78% are saying that Egghead Island is better than Wano, and only 22% are saying that Wano's better. Now, Stefan, I would agree that a lot of things you'll learn in school. It's like some like baby crying. A lot of things you learn in school you will definitely forget. Most people forget most of the things they learn, and it leaves you to question why you took all those classes to begin with. I'm truly an advocate for school reform, and in the sense of like in colleges, you should only be required. You can take whatever you want. If you want to spend all the money you want, go ahead and do so. You should be allowed to do that, but you shouldn't be required to do that. That sounds like a rip off to me, like a scam. You should only be required to take your core courses, and then a few other side courses that are distinct from your major, and that's it. There's no need for like 120 credits, 140 credits, and all that to graduate from undergrad. College shouldn't even be more than like 2.5 years. Like college should only be 2.5 years, and if you want to take extra courses, you can, but that's just a choice that you individually make. Um, and that's the perfect way to address the debt issue or student debt issue. Okay, so this was from Izzo, and I need to see who Izzo is because I don't. Oh man, I don't know if I can check this live. Yeah, Izzo has a check mark. I've never heard of him, so I want to just see real quick. Oh wow, 912,000 subscribers. What does he do? Oh, he has a gaming channel. Okay, well, shout out to you, Izzo. He plays video games. How long has he been around for? It says he's been around since 2014, but I don't know if that's when he actually started making videos on here. Um, YouTube used to have this feature where on some channels, unless they take the channel person takes off themselves, where you could like click on their oldest videos, but maybe like the UX design team realized people weren't really clicking on that button if they keep track, because all they show now is latest and popular. But what I used to do to find out when a channel actually was created versus what the about section says, I would kind of like go back and look at the oldest video. Yeah, sorry for that, guys. We got some noise in the back. I don't know what that is. Might be like lawnmower people or whatever. Um, One sec. Okay, it's not that bad. Let's just try and finish up the stream real quick. We got like 20 minutes left. Finish up the comments, and then I will get to the Queen Lily part. And as I promised, for those of you to come back and watch the stream later, feel free to check out the stream. Like if you guys got jobs, you're at work, you are walking around, maybe you like listening to my voice. Hopefully I don't put you to sleep while you're on the job. You can, it's like a 3-hour stream, so maybe they'll hold you over. So finish the comments, and then we'll go over the thing that I discovered. Where are we? Check the Twitter or Discord. Okay, I'll do that after the stream is done. Just try and get the stream taken care of. Cosmo says, what could the shadow arrows mean? So yeah, earlier in the stream we were debating different ideas. Again, I think that I really like This Is Me's idea about the ink being what it is. That is really cool. Kind of like what's his name? Sai from Naruto Shippuden, right? But on a whole nother level. And then there's also the moon god theory and certain ways you can derive shadow and light abilities from it. But the other issue is, like, Karasu has similar. Karasu's like made of like smoke, I think, right? Like some type of like ash or whatever. And then Blackbeard's like the darkness. Like, I always say this about Blackbeard. Blackbeard's like Skypiea has the white sea, then there's the blue sea of the One Piece world that we're familiar with. The white sea of the Sky Islands. Blackbeard's darkness that has allusions to water, right? With water named attacks. Could be the darkness of outer space, the Black Sea. That could be what that is. Who knows? Alfredo Gutierrez says, sometimes the ocean is so dark that people call it a whole other realm. At least my grandparents always called the ocean that, and they're from Spain. And they said that water can get to be so dark. That's true. You go so down into the ocean, you dive so deep that light can't reach it. And there's certain creatures in the water that have evolved, apparently, where their eyes can, see in the darkness. Some of them even, like, I think, make, like, light out of their chemicals, like phosphorescence or whatever it's called. You guys might know. I think it's phosphorescence, yeah. Okay, so both the Lonely Mage and, yeah, This Is Me are both saying, what if Imu's ability is actually ink-based? They painted an X over the map. Yeah, okay. Luffy white. Wait, is it Luffy white like blank paper, endless possibilities? Imu black as ink, borders and limits. Oh, yeah, that's true. We already have Conjuro. That's true. Here's the thing. Conjuro's ability, but broken. Yeah, Straw Hat Poe, you're right. Straw Hat Poe's right. Conjuro, but on crack. That's a crazy theory. Yeah, imagine somebody that can actually write. They're an author in the story. But again, that's such a broken ability because you could like do anything, There'd have to be certain limits. Somebody said that. I heard somebody say earlier, I didn't know where they're going with it. They said that Imu has the Death Note, which would kind of like apply. But again, clearly Imu doesn't, but maybe something similar. I'd be down for that. Conjuro was also a traitor, right? And if Imu did betray Joy Boy, that would make Imu a traitor, and all that would align. And Oda likes to do that. He likes to use other characters to hint at the final villain, or other villains. We could be onto something, chat. We could be onto something. I saw a super chat from somebody. I'm about to get to it. You know what? Let me make sure I get to it now so I don't forget you. Joker says your top harem anime. What? Give us high school. Huh? What is he talking about? I don't know what. I appreciate the donation, Joker. I don't think I've ever seen an anime like this, so I don't know. I don't know what that is. Okay, where do we leave off? We left off at what happened here? I can't scroll up anymore. Whatever. Okay, well, I meant to go back and look at some of those comments, but it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, the Umi Umi no Mi, if Imu has a water devil fruit ability, and as many of you were saying earlier, Imu is simply using the darkness of the sea. In Blackbeard's case, it's darkness that operates kind of like water, right? Because, again, black matter, outer space. But in Imu's case, it could be the reverse, I guess you're trying to say, where it's water, but they're kind of the reverse, but it operates at times like darkness because the water can get dark. That could be it, I guess. The Haki Haki no Mi. Umi Umi no Mi. Diego Alfaro says we are focusing on the 100 lost in Imu because we are at the end of the story. 100 lost years. What I want to see, A Baller, Luffy meeting Dragon and Shanks will be one for the history books. I want to see Dragon and Shanks speak to each other. That's what I want to see. That's my personal headcanon. Yeah, I do think so. Yeah, Emperor Need Jr. I do think there's been foreshadowings of Shanks' death. I've never considered Chapter 875 and Shanks' flag getting burnt up as a foreshadowing. I thought it was a foreshadowing of what we now know to be the case of apparently the red-haired pirates going after Bartolomeo. Let's see how that ends up if they haven't encountered each other yet. I do think some conflict should be sparked by whatever Shanks does to Bartolomeo, or maybe Shanks pretends. I would love to see this. I would love to see Shanks not actually lay a finger on Bartolomeo, but they capture him and they treat him well. They party with him. They laugh about Luffy and everything, but they take like fake pictures, and they try to pretend like, oh yeah, we hurt your friend. What are you gonna do about it? To kind of like get Luffy to want to attack and take Shanks seriously. And then they find out later on, like, oh no, like Bartolomeo's all good. He's just here having a feast with us and everything. I can see that happening. I can't really see Shanks, really harming Bartolomeo. Shanks will be killed by his twin. Yeah, I want to see the Holy Knights too. I can't wait to see them revealed. I do think Shanks will be killed by Blackbeard, yeah. And I think that whatever Shanks does will be to help Luffy ultimately defeat him. And I think Trafalgar Law probably has some interesting information on Blackbeard, given he's a doctor, and a lot of Law's abilities operate from a surgical fashion. And it'd be interesting to see if Law tried to do something to Blackbeard, and by failing in the process, he came to determine something about Blackbeard's anatomy, or why his body's so strange. I'm wondering, chat, if I should actually do a follow-up stream where we talk about Queen Lily. I'm just gonna get this out of the way for here, because we're gonna talk about the chapter later on. You know what? I might save this for... That's what we'll do. I'm gonna do a stream after the chapter, and we will talk about the theory that I've been flashing on the screen. You guys have already seen it. You can probably do your own research, look into it yourself, but we'll add that to the stream after the chapter drops and after my review's out and everything. And we'll discuss it in more detail there once we see what's actually said in the chapter. Maybe it'll be more applicable. So we finish reading your comments, and then we'll be good. Diego Alfaro says there are two D strains that survived the catastrophe, the ones like Roger and ones like Zebek. Even though they are now at war with each other, they will unite against Imu to then race for the One Piece. That's one thing I was talking about on Twitter was, um, what if Imu went after the One Piece? Can you imagine a scene where we had Shanks say, "Let's go claim it, the One Piece." Finally, we saw Buggy the Clown. We saw Buggy the Clown say, "Let's go get the One Piece," and then all of a sudden we see Imu-sama say, "It's time." That would break the internet. Yeah, so Alfredo Gutierrez is saying the subscription community plan. So yeah, I'm definitely going to make some members stuff. I'm going to probably have to study some other channels and see what they do. If you guys have any ideas, feel free to leave comments or whatever. At least in the comment section when the video's no longer live. Um, I want to have discussion streams that might be members only in the future, while still having streams that are open to the general public. I also, or just subscribers or whatever. I also want to have streams where I invite some of you guys on to talk about stuff if you're interested and just hear your ideas. And don't worry, I'm not becoming a streamer necessarily. I'm just going to be streaming additionally. I just want to diversify the content a little bit because I've seen others doing that. I'm currently working on another video that might touch on this chapter as well. I have some other videos that are related to the end of the story, and some of them will blow your mind. I don't know how. A bunch of them are in my Twitter DMs, I think. I gotta go and check. And I have them saved elsewhere. I have a bunch of note cards all around my table too. Cobber says, "Why did you switch your Valhalla outro so you don't say it anymore? I felt it was way better when you said it. Until next time." Valhalla. Maybe some people might like it. I thought that is just, trying to be a little more relatable. Hey, I don't think there's no need to. Again, I'm not an actual Viking. I just think that the whole concept of certain things behind it is cool. The concept of Valhalla, I think, ties into Shanks a lot. I'm gonna remake that old video I had up. It's no longer on the channel about Shanks dying and tying it into Vikings and everything. Because I made a video on it in the past, and I think got like what, 200,000 views, maybe more than that, a little bit less than that. Okay, this is where we were left off at. People in the chat shipping Zoro and Robin. This guy YouTube Watcher has to be... I said he was sent by Imu, but he has to be a troll. He's being friendly to him. Hey, look, YouTube Watcher, you welcome to join the crew, but he's acting like Drake on Kaido's crew. Like he's a plant for sword or something. Wait. Oh yeah, Robin's 31. That's cradle snatching. When he laughs, it looks forced. He's referring to some kind of character. So Kenny Argento says, do you think one of the five elders with the sword is stronger than Dracula Mihawk? Absolutely not. I think the strongest swordsman, we're not going to get in that whole Shanks Dracula Mihawk conversation, but I think the strongest swordsman in the world has to be Dracula Mihawk because it diminishes Zoro's end goal if there's anybody stronger than him. But I saw King of Lightning say this in a recent video. I didn't watch the video, but I saw I hovered a cursor over it and I heard briefly what he was saying. And he was also doing what I said on Twitter about comparing the incredible animation behind the Zoro and King fight. Blew me away. That's going to pale in comparison to Zoro versus Mihawk. Zoro versus Mihawk is going to probably be one of the greatest anime fights, if only sword fights, in anime history. It's going to bring tears to our eyes. It's going to turn everybody into a Zoro stan. All of us are going to go out and get our bandanas. No, I don't know. But I think, I think Zoro versus Mihawk, the only way it's going to be a legendary fight is if Mihawk stands alone at the top as a obstacle that once looked insurmountable and still feels insurmountable when Zoro gets there. Can you imagine that? After everything Zoro's done? If when Mihawk actually takes it seriously with his Black Blade Yoru, like one swing is just like destroying entire islands if Mihawk actually goes all out casually. Like Zoro and Mihawk are going to have to fight in the middle of nowhere. They might even need like an alternate dimension given how devastating that battle's going to be. I would love to see that though. That's what I'm looking forward to. It's not going to be it's going to be similar but not anything like the when Zoro was on that little boat, or the boat, whatever boat they fought on, the ship that they fought on. Like if you look at how far we've come, now we're dealing with gods, and we're getting the Gorosei and Imu's abilities. We're dealing with gods up here. And you look at how the Zoro versus Mihawk fight was pre-time skip, like early on, chapter 50, around that. The gap in ability in terms of how the fight's going to be, again, beyond what King the Wildfire was doing to Zoro, is what Dracula Mihawk is going to be like. Think of the duels. I know that they were weaker back then, the duels between Shanks and Mihawk. And now think of that on steroids for Zoro and Mihawk. Can we establish if Imu is a human or a devil, says Ryan Al Harvey. No, we can't. We don't even know what Imu is. Imu could be anything. I'm also interested, were all the former kings of the world, they weren't all humans, right? Could they, I think they said that they had erased, in the last chapter, right? They said they had erased the names of all the former kings, right, of those countries that left. I don't know. It seems like all the celestial dragons are humans, and so they really only let humans into their ranks. Which is a curious thing in terms of discrimination and how those that are not human are very powerful in their own regard and did well on their own. The giants, the fishmen, the minks. Imu is actually a guy and is the man marked by flames. Could be, but I doubt it. Yeah, I doubt it. You doubt it too. Let's see. Oh, that's what's not also in the spoilers. Okay, so another thing we're missing from the spoilers is I didn't go over this part, did I? About Luffy and Vivi being from the D family. Sorry, I must have missed that earlier. Um, this is pretty big news, actually. Now, here's the thing: if we look at the poster, the newspaper that captured Cobra's death, is Cobra smiling when he's dead? Do we see a smile on Cobra's face? You know, all throughout the story, we've been led to believe that when those that carry the will of D die, they die with a smile. Now, maybe he is dead with a smile. I just can't remember because I didn't look too deeply at the photo, right, of Cobra in the newspaper dead with Sabo standing next to him. So you guys can do that right now if you want to, if you're able to. I might do it later. But it doesn't look like Cobra, well, from what I remember, is smiling, but he might be. I think that's important to consider in terms of the will of D and have we been entirely wrong about it. I mean, was it ever truly stated in the story, canonically, that those that carry the will of D die with a smile? For some reason, I think it was, or in an SBS, but I can't remember. It might not have been. That might be like some community theory that seems so true that we just act like it is true. Nye says Vinland would be great doing One Piece ASMR. I think I kind of already do to an extent. Unless they're putting out more videos, uh, hopefully you guys. I mean, leave a comment if you want. If you guys don't mind me putting out videos that are shorter than 8 or 7 minutes, then I can just get out videos with ideas for you a lot faster. I think I spend too much time focused on quality, and then again, it always sucks when the audio gets messed up because the audio has not been quality. Sometimes, I mean, the audio for some of the videos, at least the videos post the Zoro video, the best Zoro theory I truly believe in the last 10 years, the audio has improved, I think, at least considerably. It's not perfect yet, though. A Baller says, I'm from Sudbury, Ontario, Canada. Lived here your whole life, so I assume I have an accent. You live in the crater of a meteor strike. Fujitora dropped a meteor on your hometown? This man's living in the One Piece world. He lives in a crater left behind by Fujitora's meteor. That's insane. I saw some kind of well, that's another discussion. Let's keep going. I agree with you, Matt. It really so Matt Carmona says it really seems like the Gorosei powers are attached in a way to Imu. Doesn't it feel as though Imu has possession of a greater power per se? I agree. I think that based on the way it's described, right? Because again, these are people that have seen some of the Raws maybe in the spoilers for it, and they are doing their best. Maybe they speak English as their first language or not to describe what they're seeing. But it doesn't seem to be a good description or a perfect description. It's very convoluted. We can't really. It's messy, right? We can't really. It's like a silhouette. The description itself is a silhouette. We can barely make out what is being described in these spoilers. So we need to see the actual panel to know whether or not the Gorosei powers are coming from Imu. Like maybe the Gorosei are incredibly loyal to Imu because Imu keeps them alive. We need to learn how old the Gorosei are first. It's possible that Imu has given the Gorosei eternal life. Has corrupted these men in the world by giving them things. So, Imu is somewhat supposed to be the devil, right? That betrayed God, as I have others have said. Check out my videos on those. Right, the devil will tempt you with a fruit. He will offer you powers, or he'll give you something in return, right, for sin or whatever. And so, seeing them as like a satanic cult in a way. You kind of see the Gorosei, right, worshiping at the church, the altar of Imu. And if they are bestowed powers via Imu, then Imu is the one that makes them strong. The same way that Vegapunk has satellites, right? So Vegapunk has these satellites that stem from his brain and his mind, but they're now their own people. What if the Gorosei are nothing more, again, like we said earlier, than shadows? They are shadows somehow manifest as in a physical form, or maybe Imu can manipulates their shadows somehow. I don't know. Maybe Imu gives them powers that they only have so long as they're with Imu. Maybe Imu has the power to take your power from you. But again, a lot of this stuff from Imu with the darkness and the Delphusm taking giving powers sounds a lot like Blackbeard and the Yami Yami no Mi. Maybe there's like a deeper connection there, who knows? Yes, a baller. There's a way to train AI, I think, to become better at pattern recognition and to get used to various things. That's how they do it with, for example, imitating music. The viral videos of Drake sounding just like Drake. There's a song called Winter's Cold. It's all right. There's other music out there. People saying it sounds better than anything he dropped recently. And they basically train it off the model because of pattern recognition and machine learning. Jay says, any plans on doing Berserk videos? I think you might like it. Lots of philosophical stuff. Yeah, I do. I just need to read more. I'm going to read and then make a video on something I see without getting the details of the theme of the new channel, or there's two of them, but. And this is not related to the current One Piece channel, Manga Personas, which feel free to go to my About section or my other channels, whatever's listed there, and subscribe to that one. I'm definitely going to start. We're starting in June. I said do it in May. We're starting in June to start pushing out a lot more content to you guys, streams and videos. But Berserk is something I've been meaning to read. I think I've heard of a YouTuber named Far From Weak. It might have like popped up and recommended for some reason, but I'm not familiar with them. I mean, if Law joined the Straw Hat Pirates, that'd be cool, but I don't see it happening. The Gorosei got stands. That's a good way of looking at it. Imu is drawing the evil SpongeBob. Yeah. The Lonely Mage. The pen is mightier than the sword. Lonely Mage, you are a genius. That's crazy. Chad, did you just hear that? So we're talking about Imu potentially having an ink-related ability, but it's superior to Kanjuro, and maybe Kanjuro kind of foreshadows his betrayal of Joy Boy, right? The betrayal of your king. Kanjuro betrayed Kazuki Odin. The pen. So the Lonely Mage says the pen is mightier than the sword, and as I'm reading it, to the left you see Imu surrounded by swords. Imu kind of looks like a pen. Imu does kind of look like a pen, right? The pen point, like a thick pen. So the pen surrounded by swords. The pen mightier than swords. The pen is mightier than the sword. Hey, if that turns out to be true, I'd be incredibly hyped for the ability, because has there ever been a final villain for a major shonen series that was a god in the sense of being an author? A god in the sense of being a writer? Somebody that is writing stories, erasing history. It does align, doesn't it? Maybe I should change the title of the video to like Imu 8, the Pen no Mi. The mangaka no Mi will be close. Yeah, I think that'd be epic. I don't think I've ever read a story that Maybe Imu is Oda turned evil. Maybe Oda is drawing Imu as a character that's confused about the world and in search of his own answer, and Oda's hoping that by writing, which is therapeutic to some people, he can come to the right answer at the end of the story. Imagine Oda wrote out the entire story and the answer he arrives at is, I don't know, would it be dystopian, utopian? Who knows what Oda truly believes? I can't wait till One Piece is over and Oda releases like all his manuscripts, everything he's keeping like in a vault, like 10,000 miles under the earth, so nobody can access it. All that stuff getting released after One Piece is over. All his drawings, all his sketches, all his notes to himself, all his internal contradictions as to what this character should do or regrets he's had about the story. So I do think when One Piece is over, there's going to be content at least for another 2 years for One Piece YouTubers, maybe. I hope they don't do Boruto or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, getting to see all that stuff from Oda would be pretty cool. I mean, Imusama is the writer of everything. He has rewritten history entirely. And so having a writer as the final enemy of the story against Luffy, who is somebody that doesn't like to read, would be too funny. And then also Nico Robin, right? A writer of history, that kind of stuff for a study of history. So, and imagine the kind of speech that Imu would give. Imagine the kind of speech that Imu would give, right? If Imu had a pen mangaka, writer no mi or whatever. And we get to that final moment where the Strads enter the throne room and Imu's just standing there, sitting there nonchalantly, pen in hand, twirling it around. That trick that people can do. I'd never really mastered it. They spin the pen around and it never falls. In fact, Imu might even tell them that he wrote their journey here. And maybe he's like, only some of them have managed to escape Imu's watchful eye as God or author of the series. Exactly, J-Work. Imagination versus imagination. Luffy's power with his rubber to imagine anything, and Imu's ability to write anything. Perfect clash. Imu could write up characters, shadows of former figures, right? Bring them back. That sounds like an overwhelming ability, and to be honest with you, I'd be more scared of that ability than a moon god ability. So 8baller says, if Imu is the author, the only thing that could maybe sway him are his editors, the Gorosei, or maybe us, the fans. That's a good point. This is from, I get your name right, Abdurrahman Ibrahim Mahamu. So Mahamu says, one question, is Blackbeard truly a member of the Will of D? And that's a good question. Some people think that he might be a fake Will of D, which would be, it's possible, right? Finding out that Vivi and the Nefertaris are descended from the D clan, understand, there are illusions. People think that the Kozuki family is related to the D clan. Is it possible that the Nefertari, the Kozuki, and others are D members and we just never realized it? Remember what Doflamingo said, the D will eventually reveal themselves. And now Nefertari Cobra has revealed himself as a member of the D clan. And right after doing so, his speech gets shut down. I mean, he was a dead man walking into that chamber when he did that, because the D are the enemy of the gods. He basically walked into enemy territory and said, I am your number one op. That's basically what Nefertari Cobra did. He pulled up on enemy territory and said, I am your number one op, here I am. And Imu took him out. which makes him look kind of dumb because honestly, what did Cobra get from doing that? Now, obviously, it's like a plot device. It serves a role in the story, but why did Imu think it would end any other way? Again, pulling up to enemy territory and like spitting in the face of your ops by saying, I also have the will of D, when you should know how significant that will of D is. Or maybe he doesn't truly know. I don't know. We got to read the chapter and find out. Because he was asking questions about it, wasn't he? So Just Rob says, Vinland, I really think that Dragon was at God Valley, and that's why he became a freedom fighter in the beginning. Hmm. Could be. Yeah, Monkey D. Dragon, I mean, at this point, I don't know who's more mysterious. I think that we're getting to see a lot from Shanks, and then we have a whole movie with Shanks in it, so it kind of lessens the mystery of Shanks, although I'm still hype about his character. But Dragon is very mysterious. We know nothing about him, really. We did get that flashback with Vegapunk and Dragon on O'Hara, and just from those brief moments, I saw a lot of people standing Dragon after that, saying, you know, this is why they rock with him. Right? He's saying that the will of O'Hara will never die. And you just see like the revolution spark inside of him where he's like, you know, this was the moment that caused a total mental break for Dragon. I don't know what Joker is doing in the chat. So Dabe Kong says, is cardio good for you? I believe it is. I mean, it just depends, I guess. I'm not an expert. I have a treadmill. Sometimes I go for a fast walk or a jog. It's usually like 30 to 40 minutes. The other day I went down there for like 40 minutes and then I hopped off. And then I said, you know what, I still have a lot of energy, so I went back on there for another 20 minutes. So no, the stream didn't just start, Akamai. I don't know when you posted this. It's about to end. Not yet, though. Let me just... So, the theory on ancient Egypt and Queen Lily, that's going to be covered on Friday. I'll stream again on Friday or Saturday, and we'll go over the chapter and Queen Lily and ancient Egypt and some of the things I noticed, and try to brainstorm some ideas together. Yes, Randy Troy is definitely the king of Savage. What happened there? Here we go. Michael Nazario says, dude, your voice is so badass, haha. Thank you, Michael. A baller. Oh yeah, bioluminescence. So we're talking about being able to see underwater. Yeah, thank you. I am. That's one of the things. I think Joy Boy is gonna break the internet when we finally get to see his flashback and how he actually looked. I would not be surprised. This seems to be typical of stories that deal with this. Even though Luffy's not reincarnation, it's just inherited will, it would appear. I would not be surprised if Joy Boy looks similar to Luffy whenever we get to that point in the story. And now, as for Joy Boy, I am interested in his broken promise. That's really what I want to see. You know, what happened to stop Joy Boy from fulfilling his promise? Was it too early as well, similar to Roger? Yeah, Cleo. That's what we were saying earlier. The ink fruit might be like an upgrade. Like imagine like a mythical Zoan version of it, a god version of it. Like he ate the god fruit. Like imagine how do you think Oda would draw a character that ate a devil fruit that made you not just a god but God? You understand? Imagine if Oda portrayed that by nothing changed in you. Like, well, he ate a devil fruit. Nothing changed. He can't do anything. No change in appearance. Nothing different about his body. No elemental changes. All you get from eating the fruit that Imu ate, if this is true, is a pen. That's it. You eat a devil fruit, all of a sudden the pen appears. And then you finally use the pen and it does crazy stuff. And it simply depends on how strong your will and your imagination is. Maybe. There's a character in Bleach, I believe, that is kind of like that, but doesn't have a pen. The person is imagining anything, but I think that would pale in comparison to the author or god of a story. So a random account is saying, do you use a voice changer? No. The distinction is random. I said this earlier in the stream at the beginnings when he asked about AI and everything. This is my real voice. This is me speaking casually. When I do my videos, I narrate them, so I read them in a more serious and deliberate tone. You know, this is me just kind of just like shooting off the cuff. Some people like streams and they don't really mind a casual voice, a casual approach, and others want you to give them a more cinematic experience. Although, yes, my audio has been trash for some videos, which I don't know what happened. I think I have a better hold of it now, though. So hopefully it doesn't happen again. Gotta have my car volume at 95 to hear. Yeah, the thing is, like, so for some reason my microphone is picking up static, and so I turned it down to make it less sensitive, which also means it doesn't pick up a voice as easily, but at least you're not getting blasted with static. Then there's the ambience in the background as well, which I think does help with any background noise. Solard X says a schism probably happened in the D clan and they all split up from each other. It's possible. I mean, Blackbeard does represent a darker D if he is a real Will of D carrier. That's a pretty old theory. Members emojis are always cool. So yeah, there are memberships currently available. A baller for anybody that wants to become a member. I'll give you mod status. I'll try to think of some other benefits I can give as well. This is our first stream, so hopefully things will improve. Before I actually start doing members only streams, I probably have to get more members first, because if there's only like 5 members, then there'd only be 5 people in the chat and you guys would only be having a conversation with yourselves, but maybe that wouldn't be a bad thing, I don't know. Copper says, hey VinlanD, I'm working on an anime scheduler website, and if you see any opportunities in that, let me know. It's my first website, but it's coming along really nicely. Anime scheduler. That's pretty cool, actually. So you're saying, Copper, that there are no other apps on there like that? That allow you to schedule or to keep track of anime. That's pretty cool. So you could like probably have a schedule and then say, okay, this will remind me of what anime is being released. Or maybe you could set up a schedule to like help yourself to remember, okay, I need to watch this episode or this series. Maybe people would use it or not. I don't know. I know personally that, this anime list and all these different sites out there is too kind of chaotic to keep track of, or maybe I'm just lazy. I don't know. I have a notes page where I write down different shows I want to watch or different manga or books I want to read. That's a little more organized or effective. VinlanD says, Daska Mania. What do you think is the reason for all the prophecies in One Piece? Could it be that there's some kind of time loop? So I do think we have to get an answer as to how they know. Where does this prediction come from? You're making a good point. Like, how do they know what the future holds? I mean, understand people do have future sight, and I do believe there are some people out there, maybe Shanks, that can see even further and farther into the future than others. And then those visions are less clear, which would explain why it's just a prophecy instead of an accurate prediction, right? So short-term future sight might be very accurate. And if you're able to see even further and further, that's when it gets into the realm of, oh, I had a vision, and I saw a dark hand reach out to me, and I saw somebody with a straw hat. You think about Madame Shirley from Fishman Island, right? That's kind of how her power works, and we don't still have enough explanation as to how she uses that marble ball. That marble ball as a medium, and that might be what's helping her observation hockey ability. But I do think that maybe in the past, people, maybe Joy Boy, somebody saw far off into the future, and it was a murky vision of Joy Boy, or Luffy, and other kinds of stuff. OMN3H says, if you've ever done radio or something, you, bro, got the God's voice skill. Well, I ate a devil fruit. The voice know me. Yeah, that afraid of death thing could be it, but when he was fighting his thing, it's often difficult to now say whether Blackbeard is afraid of death, because we see him rushing head on towards death on multiple occasions, but just because you're reckless doesn't change the fact that you might still be scared to die, right? Now, I want to see if Cobra was scared to die. I want to see if King Cobra had a smile on his face, because just maybe we as readers, again, are using our headcanon that feels so accurate that it's become truth in the community, and maybe we're just wrong about a lot of aspects of the will of D. So we gotta wait and see. That's a good point, Duran Ross Tuvia, who says, what if the D are celestial dragons that just didn't stay in Merijois, and because they left, they are deemed traitors? That's why Doflamingo hated them, because he saw himself as one of the celestial dragons. That's actually a really good point. It could be that the D are former celestial dragons, and they refused to bow. Maybe they were loyal to a different king. Maybe there was a war, a civil war. Again, the allusions of Queen Lily to Alabasta, and then we talk about Imu and the civil war that happened in Alabasta. Maybe there was a civil war between the D clan. Two different sides. And you have several Ds, right? With Monkey D. Dragon and the others. Again, Dragon's name that ties into the Dragon Claw. It could be that Luffy's lineage is the rightful rulers of the world. Wouldn't that be crazy? Monkey D. Dragon has an attack called Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw represents not just the symbol of enslavement, but also the symbol of the gods of Merijoa. So yeah, I mean, if Monkey D. Dragon and all of them used to be, in the distant past, celestial dragons, that's a possibility. And they are considered enemies of the gods, or as you mentioned, traitors, because of this. So Oofmatic says, that's interesting. So Oofmatic is saying that all of the Blackbeard pirates are frauds, not just Blackbeard being a fraud or a fake Will of D. Oofmatic says, Shiryu is a fraud swordsman because he's using invisibility. I don't know about that. He says Von Augur is a fraud sniper if he teleports his bullets. So I would say they all use underhanded tactics, and that's the common element. So yeah, an invisible swordsman, underhanded. A sniper that can teleport his bullets, underhanded. Okay, Izzo says he just started on Berserk. So far it's really interesting to read. A dark fantasy storytelling. Yeah, I plan on starting Berserk this summer, so I can make some videos for the other channel. Yeah, Darkaeus, I would love for Imu to really have the power to erase things. Uh, Again, an ultimate ability. I don't know what type of limitations you'd have to put on Imu. Uh, Maybe certain people can resist, again, Haki, and so conquerors probably have strong wills that can resist devil fruit abilities. And so one way to get around Imu is, and look, we kind of had with Kuma, right? We thought that Kuma could erase people. He, right, swipe you and then we have no idea where you went. Powers like that exist. I would imagine Imu as a final villain maybe could have the power to erase you, and only by defeating Imu would you ever return. And so Imu has the power. If Imu had the power to erase an island, it's like, okay, this kingdom can come back if we defeat Imu. Imu writes maybe the red line into existence. Well, we defeat Imu and the red line will disappear. Or they could use maybe the ancient weapons, which is most likely to destroy it. How long have we been streaming for? Almost 4 hours? Okay. Almost done. Yeah, that's what I was saying, Ebony. I imagine there are other final villains that are kind of like author type characters or whatever, but none of them are even well known, I think, or you really heard of like that. That's a good point. I was telling a family member the other day that some people, when they come down with an incurable disease, they do crazy stuff. Shout out to Goldie Roger. And in real life, there was a guy I heard that had cancer, and he decided he was going to come up with one of the greatest bank heists in history. There was like some old guy. You can probably look up the story yourself. I think he had cancer, and then he set up he masterminded a whole bank robbery. And it's, when you think about it, some people ask themselves when they're at that advanced age and they know they're going to die soon, what are you going to do when death is around the corner and you have nothing to be afraid of anymore, depending on, again, on your religious beliefs or your philosophy of life. And so, seeing Roger with an incurable disease doing whatever he wanted regardless, and laughing in the face of the world, and Imu from afar even thinking that they had won when really he won in the end, that makes Roger a GOAT character. You asked me who my favorite characters are, I said Shanks, Aokiji, and Luffy. I'd throw Roger in there as well. Maybe after Luffy. But yeah, Cobra having Das Kamania says Cobra was already dying from his sickness. So I bet he figured he had nothing to lose by asking his questions. So yeah, that's probably what was going on in his mind. In many ways, it was kind of like... And what's interesting? Can you imagine if the world government... Because Cobra, just like Clover from Ohara, shot down before they could finish what they were saying. Can you imagine if Imu had been in the audience and he pulled out a black bow and arrow or black arrow and he shot Goldie Roger before Roger got to finish his speech? Before Roger got to say the One Piece is real, he gets shot down by Imu. That's really why that moment is so impactful, is because they failed to stop him, along with Rayleigh's, recounting of his captain's life and speech. So here's the thing, I'll give you some advice. I'm taking some courses right now, Copper. If you're going to make a site that's related to anime scheduling, study your competition, see what they're doing and what they're doing wrong and what you wish will be better about that app, and then provide that to your new customer base to get their people over to your side. Like, I can imagine an app that's just very easy to use, keep track of the anime or whatever, it updates you, you can set notifications and reschedule different features you want to add to it. I mean, hell, if you wanted to, you could even just brainstorm the ideas of functionalities for the application, and then you could just pitch to somebody and hire them to make it for you, and then maybe just give them a percentage of your profits. All right, we're at the end of the comments. Let's wrap this up. I appreciate that, Mute. I'm gonna try and start live streaming more. I don't know if the Berserk anime is good. I've heard that it's bad, but I don't know if that's because of the newer CGI stuff. Is what it is. But I'm definitely going to be reading it at some point. You think the D stands for dragon, so Monkey Dragon Dragon is Monkey D. Dragon's real name. The will of the dragon. I think, I'll go back to my original point. I think it could be the will of a person, and so their first initial, the initial D, or the will of a country, and it could be the first initial of that country's name, maybe the ancient kingdom, or something else entirely. Possible idea: One Piece equals all the islands and lands reforming into one continent, like it was originally pre-Void Century. Luffy will create the All Blue and unite everyone as the rightful ruler. And that does, yeah, that's an old theory, and it does tie into real life, and the concept of Pangea, Whole Land of Mary Joie, Pangean Castle. That's probably one of the oldest One Piece theories out there. Copper says, I also like the idea of the people of the D meaning dawn, those who will bring a new dawn. That's a good idea too. The will of Denmark. The will of, I don't know. I like that. I like the D being a smile, but also a half moon. And again, that would tie into, oh yeah, and then putting it together in one piece. And so you define the two coins and put them together. Maybe. Now, I know Morge dropped a video where he talked about the two sovereigns meeting each other, and I don't know if in the video he said it was like Shirahoshi and Vivi meeting one another as two sovereigns, or could it be that Luffy and Vivi will be reunited, which kind of goes against, unless he mentioned that as an alternative point in his video, in Morge's video. But what if Joy Boy is one of the sovereigns, and he runs into Vivi? What if each of them reflects two halves of the D that need to be reunited? I don't know. I do like the idea of a civil war and there being a dark side of the moon, and the will of D was the will of the bright side of the moon that was lit up by the sun, Joy Boy. And then you have the darkness on the other side, who knows? Doran says, sometimes it's hard to tell if Oda is getting political or fantastical with his twists or reveals. Very true, very true. Okay. Let me load up the live again, see what's going on. Well, you guys, this was the first stream, and it's been a blast. It's been good talking to you. Well, those of you that have been here, I think we hit a high, right, for the first video of about, like, what was it, like 80 something, 90 viewers. It's the morning time. I know that most of you are probably at work and in school. You have better things to do than listen to me ramble on about One Piece. But yeah, the next stream that we do should be on Friday or Saturday. We'll go over the chapter, brainstorm some stuff together. I'll be working on another video to drop for Sunday. Yeah. Make sure to check out the memberships. Like the video if you want to. Subscribe. Check out the memberships. I'm going to start planning things for members only in the future. Mod status, whatever benefits I can give to you guys to make it worthwhile. Appreciate that. Thank you. I'm glad that you enjoyed this stream, Copper. Jay says more people than a 4-hour college lecture. That's true. I was glad you're here. Well, I'm glad you made it, Nicholas Kemp. Happy you could be here too. That's a great point. Imu bringing back the dead. Does that tie into Egypt as well? Like some kind of like Egyptian power, maybe? And then you also have those tombstones that are over there in the Holy Land. But anyways, yeah, check out the memberships, subscribe, like the video. We will be continuing this in the future. Again, if you're from certain parts of the world, I'm going to be reaching out to different places. Right now, I'm focused on India. I'm going to give it a few days. I saw one person that said they're from India. I know there's a lot of you from India that watch, so if any of you are interested in getting on the stream to talk about anything, I just like to, you know, see a different perspective of One Piece outside of my own Western lens. But as usual, until next time.